Bonjour tout le monde. Bienvenue à la séance du conseil du 28 août. So welcome everyone at home. We're here at the August 28th meeting. Let's go ahead and begin. Est-ce qu'on pourrait avoir un adaptateur de l'ordre du jour, s'il vous plaît?
Monsieur le maire, je propose l'adoption de l'ordre du jour avec deux retraites, 4.20 et 4.21, si je ne me trompe pas.
C'est exact. Ouais. So 420 and 4.21 are postponed to another date.
J'appuie l'ordre du jour tel que modifié.
Merci. On va prendre un moment de silence si on pouvait se lever, s'il vous plaît. Merci. Bon, on est rendu à la section 1.2, période de questions. J'ai eu 13 questions envoyées en ligne. Je vois qu'il y a des personnes ici qui ont posé des questions en ligne. Donc, si vous voulez les lire maintenant, ou peut-être je vais demander à ceux qui n'ont pas envoyé une question en ligne, qui sont ici, qui aimeraient poser une question. Là, ce serait peut-être le moment. It works.
It works?
It works.
Hi, gentlemen. Hi, Mr. Mayor. This is my first time coming to the meeting, so I'm learning. I have three questions. Is during the winter, when the school term is on, the school buses stops LaPage and Dawson. Morning and night, cars they don't stop, they go right through. The bus puts his horn on, and it goes that every day. There's a problem there. Maybe you could try to help. Second, I know you got construction.
So I just want to be clear. School bus honking?
Yeah.
That's the problem?
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
yeah. He's been honking all the time, and he's looking at us and says, "What do you do?" You know, people I don't know, and they stick their finger up and says, "I don't know why." Bad attitude. The second one, I know you got construction going on in Shopping Center, so LaPage is using a lot of traffic. I could understand that. There's buses going through. I could accept that. But the problem is you got people don't live in our neighborhood. They use that as a shortcut, and they speed like crazy on LaPage between Lakeshore and Dawson. So we have a problem there. Maybe you can help us on there.
We can. Hold on. I know who you are, but you need to identify yourself with your name and address for
I'm
the
sorry.
recording.
I'm sorry. My name is Norman Lehou, Lehous.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And no, he
the
gave
other-
us his. You gave us your address?
Hey?
Did you give us your address?
Yes, 136 Avenue LaPage, H9S 3E6.
Okay, sorry, we cut you off.
Okay, where I was about the construction. And the other problem is, in my old time, we used to have a license plate on a bicycle. That's going back years. On Lakeshore, the bicycle are going wild. They're going crazy. They don't care. I saw on the corner, Dorval Avenue and Lakeshore, the car tried to pass. They always blame the driver, but the bicycles right through the red light, just don't give a damn. So we do have a problem, you know, and the other part is they have water bottle or whatever, they throw it anywhere on Lakeshore, on the field, or on the building, you know, just, you know, to hell with it. So we have a problem there. Maybe they need to be educated. I don't know. But what can we do to improve? And the last one is I thank you very much. You did a wonderful job. City, the park, and the new park you made is a beautiful job. And I thank you all.
Thank you, Monsieur Leroux. Mr. Trudeau, who's on the Circulation Committee, will take note of at least your question number one. We will ask our public security to be more present, and the police. I know that you were talking about the winter, I believe.
That's right.
Roads are narrower, but that's not an excuse anyways. But we'll take note of that and bring that up to the Circulation Committee. In regards to bicycles, I understand. I'm frequently in the village in Dorval, and I consider the worst intersection to be Martin and Chemin Bald du Lac, and it's incredible. You have cars going in 5 directions, and you have bikes going through without stopping. Look, I don't know what the solution is. Tonight we'll be approving a position as a director of communications, and that's one of the things that we'd like to address is with the hiring of that person, we're going to have a little bit more flexibility in terms of communications, and I'd like to see a lot of discussion on that on our social media, on our websites, and through documents at home. I can't control those that are not from Dorval. We can sensitize those who are from Dorval. So I take your points.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you for coming, and hopefully you'll come back another time.
I will. Mark,
Yes, go ahead.
If I could add maybe just a little bit. We've met with the new resident that has moved in, okay? And we do have a plan of action that we're going to take place. We're looking to do Bollard. We've got to determine where exactly we want them. We've got to speak to the residents around there. But we've already started, and I've already brought it up to our circulation meeting. So we're looking forward, and you're right, at one point, the circulation down La Page was 598 cars, I think it was. And it was mainly due that Dawson was closed. But we're looking into it. We want to do a Bollard, and I think it's going to restrict, at least hopefully, the speed that's taking place.
thank you very much. You're doing a great job, everybody.
Thank you. Nom et adresse, s'il vous plaît. Name and address.
First name Stella, last name is Haley, Haley. Address 61 Hillside, Point Claire. Thank you. I thank you first for all of your time over the years. My last presentation before the Dorval City was at the request, I should say, and at my commending the city on their wood burning smoke. I worked on this for 15 years. And I actually wrote a book and gave it to Mayor Trombley, which helped influence. But we have much more to do, as you know, with the air quality and other issues. First, I want to say, I heard the president of one of the largest universities, Harvard, her book, To Be Important Trouble in Life. I've been a bit of a troublemaker, and I've not always been appreciated, but I do try to do my best. And I want to, first of all, commend you on all the things you do. My son lives here, has residence here. So what I'd like to say is, listening to Nikki Haley the other night, and she said, when you want something said, you ask a man. When you want something done, you ask a woman. So there you are. So I was here today with 5 different copies of a question when I wanted to present. And it's very challenging. But I'd like to ask, on behalf of women and girls in our sporting activities, And given I have the support now of all of the competitors at the recent tennis competition in Dorval, women who witnessed similar issues that I tried to bring forward for years. Now, I do not wish to mention any names, but I believe, and I thank you, Mr. Mayor and Mr. Rouleau, for your time, and Madame, excuse me, dear. Bilodeau. Thank you. I ran as city councillor, by the way, in the other city. But what I want to say is, when we have evidence of extreme misconduct, after which myself, I was unable to tolerate, and I was going through the suicide of my sister at the same time, when I was referred to with the most derogatory sexual terms and other issues of extreme painful comments, I left that club. That club was in Pointe Claire. I made all the efforts which I'm doing here in Dorval. I received confirmation repeatedly that something would be done, but instead, the particular individual was banned for a very serious violent attack on another man. I was told repeatedly I had to bring the evidence and I had to go to the police. Subsequent to that, I was viciously attacked at the tennis club with sprayed in my eyes, had to be hospitalized for a day treatment, and the doctor insisted you go and report this to the police, which I did. The police response was, "Madam, we're too busy." A phone call. "We have a backlog. We're not taking cases like this." So I dropped it, and I said, life is more important. As a grandmother, I have other things to do. I'll drop this. This summer, after this man this particular individual became head of the social committee within a year after leaving the other club, and I've written to them for years and years and years and years, I finally said I will bring up evidence. So I brought the evidence. Yes. I'm so sorry. I get to the question.
Please,
I'm so
you're every
sorry.
4 minutes in.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I
and
actually.
we've had many discussions between us.
Yes,
So.
we have. We had a wonderful discussion this summer. But when that man was put in a position where I, as a woman, have to go up to him and ask him, "Who do I play with?" and he takes the position of a female employee who was employed and was doing a good job, I say to you, what am I to do to find a way for me and my granddaughters so they don't have to endure this, and that the city could perhaps intervene if a nonprofit refuses to look at the evidence, would not meet with me to look at the evidence which I received from the president of the city of Pointe Claire. I would ask you first, I want to have a petition, and will you support me in asking that we review background checks, that we make sure that anybody who has a history is not put in a position where it would be against my dignity to have to go to the same man who screamed at me at Dorval, where I was assaulted at Dorval, where I made a police report at Dorval, where I came to you this summer and to you last week, and I have been writing on behalf of people. But now that I have tennis competition, the women of tennis that were there who say, "We will back you." Here's our email. We witnessed this week as well. We need to have women. So as there's only one woman here, I'm sorry, I thought there would be more. Oh, there's another one. I thought we could at least be saying, okay, will you please look at my petition, and will you please review and reevaluate the process by which we put people who have a history of offense and whatever in a position where women are subjected to be humiliated to have to go and say to that person.
Mrs. Haley,
Yes, I thank you. I thank you. I really thank you.
I know it's difficult. What
Very
you
difficult.
have to discuss, we've discussed it. You and I, Monsieur Goulot and you. You bring up the background checks. The city of Dorval does do background checks. They're police checks. There's a very formal procedure. I can speak to it. You have to go downtown. You have to give your fingerprints. You don't even use your name anymore. It's only your birth date. And if that comes up in the system, it will be identified. It will be transferred to the RCMP. and then there'll be some sort of discussion between the RCMP and the police, and you're either cleared or not cleared. That's a very formal thing. We do that for many of our associations, particularly when they're involved with children. That being said, the gentleman in question has passed his police checks. Now, I know you have a lot of evidence that is, I can qualify as hearsay.
This is official evidence.
Well, it's information from Point Claire. And our advice to you is to make a complaint with the police. They are there to investigate these sorts of events.
I actually did that, but the police assured me, you see, what we're dealing with here is a managerial situation. The police cannot interfere into a nonprofit and say, that person doesn't belong there. That is a duty, and I believe, please clarify if I'm wrong, do you as a mayor and as the representatives of people recognize that maybe we better expand the criteria by which you do background checks, given that a person at the city of Dorval looked and said, rejected, he's been rejected, he's been rejected. I don't know who to believe, but I don't have the right to that information, which the police told me, and I thank you for listening. But you know, this is a serious situation. This is about rights. This is about denying my rights, and this is about other people who have been suffering also. And no, not everybody goes up and makes a complaint.
I
realize, but
I do understand what you're saying, but if there's the gentleman in question has passed his security check. We do not have any other complaints, and the information that you shared with me is information you need to share with the police. They can do criminal investigations.
But it's not a criminal investigation. What I'm asking
if
is
someone is harassing you, that's
no, that's not. I'm asking you this. Regardless of all his offenses, regardless of his expulsion from another club for violence, regardless of all of this, I have been intimidated at Dorval. But if I write to the committee, all of my privacy information goes to that person because he is a volunteer as a social committee director, and this year he's volunteering in an employee's position. But I really want you to clarify this, because if a person has rights as a member, does that also give the club the duty to ensure that those rights are not jeopardizing her psychologically, physically, or in any other way? I believe that that is our right. Our right as women, not to have to go up to a man who said, you dress for sex, eh? And I have copies of videotapes from the head of the Tennis Sports Gazette who sent to me copies of him bullying me.
Mrs. Haley,
Yes,
if you have
but
such...
do you have anything that you can do, period?
I know that we've had discussions. Mr. Rulo's had discussions with our staff. We've gone. We interviewed the people at the tennis club, and we're getting a different message from you.
They refused to meet with me. They refused to talk to me. I offered to be vice president. They neglected my offer.
Mrs. Haley, if you have this information, and we're not...
They won't look at it. They told me the matter is closed, like you and your employee, your personnel did too. The matter is closed. Well, the matter is not closed if a woman is still is subject to such aggression or subject to not having her rights respected. I am sorry.
Mrs. Haley,
yes.
we met last week, if my memory is correct. You sent me the document I asked you. I told you I wrote to you on Thursday, I guess.
I sent it today.
No, I got them last week. I sent you an email on Thursday.
I did not. No. I just sent them today through the printer. I'm sorry.
I have your email on my computer, and I told you that I will read them, and if there's things we can do, we will go to the police and see what they can do. Let me just finish. We'll listen to you.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
But the jurisdiction is not ours. It's the police department, which you like it or not. That's the only way. If you feel for yourself, you have to go down to the police station.
May I clarify? The police told me I have no right.
And that wasn't, anyway, we're not going to go into details tonight.
Yes, but I can't go to the police if the police tell me I don't have that right. I'm asking you, as managers of this city, to protect women and girls from the future people being subjected to what I'm subjected to and other women are subjected to. I believe that this isn't a violation of rights, and women do not have to be humiliated.
Okay, Mrs. Haley.
So can you do anything?
I
Thank you.
will, yeah, what I will do is speak to the commander of the police station with the information that you've provided me and see if he'll discuss this,
The
the
police does
situation.
not decide on which employees work in the city of Dorval. This is ridiculous. This is not appropriate to respond to me by saying that shoveling this off to the police. I have been doing this and avoiding this man, but when the city of Dorval puts him, not you, the committee will not even meet with me. They refuse to look at the evidence. I said, could you please give me 15 minutes? Sorry, we're too busy, the response in the email. I don't have time.
Okay, as
I'm
I
sorry,
said, I
but
will.
it's not a police matter.
It is a police matter, and I will commit to
Decide
you.
who is employed at the tennis club? I don't think so.
No, I understand, but we need to have an investigation about the allegations. The allegations you're making are serious, and they need to be dealt with in a manner that is very important, and that's the police who needs to do that.
2013, 2000, I met with your sports directors in this city. I was in tears, crying my eyes out. Many times, not once. You have the records. What I'm saying to you, I'm not saying this because I want to embarrass you. I'm saying this on behalf of every woman. And given the fact that the women who were playing tennis there this weekend from all over Canada have given me their emails, and they suggest, let's get a petition going across Canada, like I said to Madame Rouleau on the phone. Look, it hurts, but it hurts more because you feel this person who's intimidated me at the Dorval Tennis Club, that you people are allowing this to go on, because why? Why? Can't you just say, this is inappropriate?
I understand, Mrs. Haley,
I
but
thank you for your
you're
time.
making allegations against someone, and we need to have the police look into this, because, at the end of the day, I can't just fire someone, get rid of someone on an allegation.
No, you're wrong. I make allegations to the club president years and years repeated. I made allegations. Do you assume that any police is going to say that this is a civil matter or a crime matter? No, they're going to say, take this back to the city, which they told me this week.
Mrs. Haley, I will speak to the police commandant, and see what we can do to help you out.
It's not the police. You have to speak to the manager of the tennis club over there. The new I offered to be vice president, which is my right as an acclamation after months. Did I get an answer? No. The only answer I got was to tell me they don't have time.
I don't think that was the answer.
That is the answer. I can send it to you. Thank you so much. Look, I'm sorry to push this, but rights are rights.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Tu veux laisser comme ça? Is there anybody else who would like to take the microphone? Otherwise, I'll start the questions that were brought in online.
Can I take the microphone
You can.
and add a question? Thank you. Monique Loisel on Boylan, 265 Boylan. I just got l'ordre du jour aujourd'hui. Je l'ai cherché ce matin à 8h30 avant d'être responsable des enfants, puis c'était pas en ligne. Ça fait que c'est juste ce soir que j'ai vu.
L'ordre du jour était en ligne depuis
Pas
la
ce
semaine passée.
Elle n'était pas en ligne sur ma tablette ce matin parce que je te l'ai montré puis j'ai dit c'est pas là. Toujours est-il que, en plus de ma question officielle que j'ai, qu'est-ce que c'est l'idée de la démolition et reconstruction de la toiture du complexe aquatique et sportif de Dorval?
Bon.
C'est assez neuf, ça, comme building, quand même.
OK. Allez à votre deuxième question, puis on va revenir à celle-là. Ouais, celle-là. Non, c'est parce qu'on a plusieurs personnes qui demandent la même question. Donc, je vais prendre... M. Rouleau va l'expliquer. Posez votre deuxième question
Mais
et
ma
on va
deuxième
revenir.
question est dans votre liste. Là, je pose la question sur la piscine Ballantyne. Il y a une rumeur qui court, qui est portée par plusieurs des sauveteurs à la piscine, que la piscine Ballantyne va être fermée la saison prochaine. Et on se demandait si c'est une vraie rumeur ou si
Je ne sais pas où vous avez entendu c'était une rumeur. Là. C'est un fait. C'est un fait. J'ai passé même J'ai passé cet été des comités de rencontres avec les citoyens dans chaque piscine pour en parler.
Oui, mais c'est pas tout le monde qui est disponible
Non?
cette journée-là, c'est sûr.
OK.
Mais-
Oh oui, la piscine ferme. Hein? On l'a annoncé sur notre site Web, sur nos réseaux sociaux. La piscine va être refaite cette année. C'est la 3e et dernière piscine à être rénovée. Les 2 autres ont été faites dans les dernières années. On sait que quand on a fait la piscine Waters, on l'a faite dans 1 an. Il y avait des problèmes avec ça. On a pressé pour ouvrir et à la fin de la journée, on a payé. Je pense que vous savez bien les problèmes là, avec
Ben, il y a eu
Ouais,
des problèmes.
il a eu des problèmes. Et là, à ce point-ci, pour Ballantine, qui a peut-être le plus de travail des 3 à faire, on est en train de dire aux citoyens que c'est fort possible que la piscine ne va pas ouvrir au début de l'été. Et je vais dire tout de suite aujourd'hui que techniquement, la réponse est qu'elle ne va pas ouvrir l'été prochain, mais si tout va bien, si on n'a pas de problème avec des matériels, par exemple, et on peut ouvrir pour 3 semaines, on va ouvrir pour 3 semaines. Si on peut l'ouvrir pour 4 semaines, on va l'ouvrir pour 4 semaines. Mais officiellement, aujourd'hui, je dis à tout le monde que la piscine Ballantine va être fermée l'été prochain.
Est-ce qu'il va y avoir des horaires spéciaux à Walter et ailleurs pour être capable de prendre tous les enfants qui peuvent faire les cours de natation?
Tout a été réglé avec notre département de loisirs. Et c'est pour ça que j'étais surpris quand on disait que c'est une rumeur, parce que ça a été expliqué pour le swim team, la nage synchronisée, pour le diving, comment ça va fonctionner l'année prochaine. Il va y avoir des places pour tout le monde. Ça a été déjà discuté avec...
Je peux vous dire que ce midi, il y avait 50 personnes qui faisaient de l'aquagym à Walter. Et puis, il n'y avait pas beaucoup de place pour tout le monde.
Est-ce que ça répond à votre question?
Bien, j'ai hâte de voir comment vont être vos solutions parce que je pense que... tous
C'est
les
la seule
enfants-
solution qu'on a. Je ne peux pas ouvrir une 4e.
Non, mais on est en 2023, on est capable de bâtir un building de 16 étages en quelques mois. Et puis, on n'est pas capable de réparer une piscine. D'ailleurs, elle a fermé la semaine passée, mais on n'a pas commencé à travailler dessus.
Ils ont commencé aujourd'hui, je crois, hein, M. Rouleau?
Ils se sont mobilisés aujourd'hui.
OK. On a bien hâte. Moi, j'aimerais beaucoup qu'il y ait une volonté politique pour le faire le plus vite possible.
Et Mme Loisel, c'est pas la réparer, c'est la refaire au complet. Donc, c'est pas des petits travaux, c'est comme si on faisait une piscine au complet. Et ce qu'on sait pas, c'est la température. S'il fait beau tout l'été, on va être capable d'ouvrir au milieu de l'été. S'il pleut comme cette année, les gens en construction dehors ne travaillent pas. Donc, on va perdre du temps. Donc, c'est pour ça que le maire mentionne à juste titre que s'il fait beau, on va peut-être pouvoir ouvrir plus tôt. Mais l'hiver, là, ils démolissent. Cet hiver, évidemment, ils vont travailler à l'intérieur, le chalet. Et au printemps prochain, ils recommencent le bassin.
C'est parce que pas avoir de piscine du côté est de l'avenue d'Orval, c'est un gros problème.
On est très conscient, mais la piscine a quand même un certain âge. Et comme le maire le mentionnait, comme nous, on va chez le médecin, ils vont se faire réparer. La piscine a besoin d'amour et de réparation.
Ça prend pas un an.
Je vais aussi ajouter que la piscine, on a une 4e piscine qui est la piscine intérieure, hein, est bonne aussi.
En fait, pour répondre à votre question sur le centre aquatique, depuis sa construction du centre aquatique, on a eu quelques problèmes avec l'entrepreneur. La toiture n'a pas été bien construite. Pendant des années, il y a eu une chicane entre les professionnels et le constructeur et les sous-traitants. On a donc, dans ce dossier-là, plusieurs firmes d'avocats, parce que chaque professionnel a sa firme d'avocat, et on vient de déterminer vraiment la faute. Vous allez dire que ça a été long, mais tout le monde se lançait la balle. Et là, notre toiture est dans un état tel qu'on ne peut plus attendre. La garantie vient à échéance sous peu, et comme l'entrepreneur ne répare pas, il patch, et notre toiture est tellement patchée que là, ça ne tient plus le coup. Donc, on va en appel d'offres pour faire les plans et devis, pour refaire notre toiture, qu'on va rajouter sur la poursuite que tout le monde a avec tout le monde présentement. Donc oui, on va refaire la toiture. Cette année, on fait les plans et devis et on va refaire la toiture à un moment où on pourra la refaire de façon à ne pas nuire au calendrier des activités. On sait qu'on a une piscine en moins, donc évidemment, on va mettre ça un espace de temps qui va faire qu'on n'aura pas d'enjeu avec la piscine Ballantine. La piscine va être, on n'a pas le choix au cas qu'il y a un incident sur la toiture, mais vous savez qu'à chaque année, la piscine ferme pour son entretien. Donc, on va s'occuper de faire ces travaux-là en même temps pour pas justement nuire, mais probablement qu'on va devoir fermer une semaine de plus, mais on n'a pas la date exacte tant qu'on ne sait pas pour l'autre piscine ce qui s'en vient. Là, présentement, ce qui est à l'ordre du jour ce soir, c'est faire les plans et devis pour retourner en appel d'offres pour la toiture seulement. Au niveau de Ballantine, vous allez voir durant tout l'hiver, il va y avoir une campagne de sensibilisation pour la piscine aussi, Ballantine, pour les gens qui n'ont pas entendu ce que le maire a mentionné et ce que nos réseaux sociaux ont déjà mentionné pour la piscine.
Merci, Mme Moselle. Quelqu'un d'autre? Sinon, je vais commencer les questions. Bon, on a eu une question de M. Briffaut.
Voulez-vous que je lis les questions, M. le maire?
Allez-y.
Vu que vous allez les répondre. Donc, question 1 de Denis Briffaut, 255 Avenue Roy. Question 1, projet de patinoire ouverte. Question 1, nous avons 2 patinoires, dont un vient d'être rénové récemment à grands frais. Vu l'état général des routes de Dorval et des pistes cyclables, comment justifier l'urgence d'un projet d'une telle amplitude sans consultation publique?
Monsieur Briffaut, j'ai déjà mentionné dans le passé que ça fait des années et des années qu'on parle d'une patinoire réfrigérée. Et à ce point-ci, on a eu le débat, ici au conseil, on a eu le débat sur les réseaux sociaux. Et je peux vous dire qu'il y a beaucoup de monde qui me rencontre et me demande quand est-ce qu'on va commencer ce projet-là. On a un changement de l'environnement aujourd'hui. Moi, je pourrais voir un jour, dans 10 ans, où peut-être les patinoires extérieures non couvertes, non réfrigérées n'existeront plus. Et donc, ça va être la seule patinoire dehors. Ça, c'est fort possible. C'est une surface multi-saison, 4 saisons. Elle peut être utilisée toute l'année, 100%. Et là, par exemple, on parle de camp de jour. On a besoin d'agrandir nos camps de jour. Ça, c'est une grosse problématique qu'on a à Dorval. Et là, on pourrait mettre un groupe en dessous de cet édifice. Mais là, vous êtes en train de faire une comparaison entre les deux. J'aimerais juste clarifier, M. Briffaut, qu'on pense des énormes sommes sur nos rues. Le chiffre pour cette année est entre 12 et 13 millions de dollars. On a du travail qui se fait présentement ou achève sur la rue Strathmore. On a des travaux qui se font sur le chemin Heron, sur le... Monsieur Von Reutz connaît ça bien, sur la rue Nightingale. On va commencer sous peu des travaux qui vont se faire dans le coin du McDonald's, qui va monter la côte du chemin Heron et redescendre. Un travail qui est très important. On a un petit bout à faire sur St. Regis, Dumont aussi. Et en plus, on commence un très gros projet qui va affecter les rues Roy, Lapage, 1e Avenue et 2e Avenue. On refait la rue au complet. Et en plus, on va installer des bassins de retention d'eau, un projet fort important pour la ville. On en a parlé dans le passé. C'est un des points les plus bas dans la ville et on a des problèmes de gestion d'eau. Et le fait qu'on va faire ce projet de retention d'eau en dessous de ces rues, c'est vraiment quelque chose qu'on a besoin de faire. et aussi, on va faire du pavage pour la piste cyclable sur la rue Bouchard. Les estimés que j'ai, c'est entre 12 et 13 millions de dollars cette année, juste sur le pavage de rue. Donc, je pense qu'on est en train de faire nos parts pour 2 différents projets. Si vous avez des questions, M. Briffaut, vous pouvez m'appeler au bureau, pas de problème. Merci beaucoup.
Question 2 from Tina Gautreau at 595 Avenue de l'Église. Question 1, requesting a community fridge. West Island residents, including those residing in Dorval, have voiced the need for a community fridge via social media. Would Dorval be open to entertaining the idea if a community member would be responsible for the project? All other boroughs will also be contacted with the same request.
That's a great question, Madame Gautreau. Look, I think it's a great initiative. I think what I understand what the concept is. We see that project or that type of social collective distribution of food much more in the States than we do here. Maybe it has to do with the weather. But a community fridge is really a decentralized approach. It's really based on volunteers who are supporting, who are finding food to put in there. In some cases, you need both a fridge and a storage unit for dry goods. So I certainly am open to discuss it with anybody who wants to be interested and kickstart such a project. I think the difference here in Dorval, which makes our dynamic a little bit different, is that we have community aid. Community aid already deals with food insecurity. It provides foods for residents of the city who are in need. All done through community aid in a very discreet manner, and so we're already kind of filling in that hole that some people might see for members of our community. So again, I'm very open to discussing it. If there's a group of citizens who want to get together, develop a project, I'm sure council will be very happy to sit down with you and listen on how that would work. So maybe we'll hear back from you in the coming days. Thanks so much.
Question 3 is from Nick Feldman, 2 St. Charles Avenue. Question 1, no stopping signs. When will you put no stopping signs at the end of Avenue St. Charles, next to the little beach? No parking signs provides too much flexibility. Question 2, I'll read all 3 questions because they're all on the same vein. Question 2, security not enforcing street signs. Why does security not enforce the street signs? Question 3, U-turns. My driveway is like a road for the traffic accessing the beach and circulating back with their vehicle. By restricting the area with no stop signs and tickets, less people will come.
Thank you, Mr. Feldman. I know we've discussed this last year. I didn't think that you were having a big problem at this point because I hadn't really heard back until today. No stopping is the same as no parking in my mind. The two mean the exact same thing. I was on your street today at the end. I saw about 8 signs. Some are big signs with multiple signs on it. It's very clear that you're not allowed to stand there idling your car. So, I think that I understand your predicament. We've put all the signage in place that we need, but in terms of public security, they have the whole city, the whole territory of the city, both residential and industrial sector, to do, and they can't be at your location, every half hour to see who's parking on the street. I have to say that the street is public; it remains public, and the access to the lake is a public access as well. I understand that your driveways, it's a situation that your driveway is there, and I understand. And maybe what the next step to do is to maybe paint some kind of a grid that we see in the no parking grids that we see in other areas of the city. So, yeah.
Number one, I sent you probably around 20 emails. You were copied on about, I would say, 70% of them. I've been calling security regularly, but you didn't mention that. You did put those lines last year. They don't do much. So I don't know if you're aware that the city already put the lines. They've been there since last year. Don't do anything. I have Felix behind me. He works for security. We met before. He says that no stopping signs would be a much better solution, and I should come here and explain this to the committee because if you're allowed to stay in your car, as long as you're in your car, you can block my driveway, obstruct my access. This area is not meant for, it's not a public parking for a beach or a marina. It is simply a place to access the beach by foot. It's not meant as a parking lot or a lookout to view the lake from your car. I've had cars, 5, 6 cars, like a parking lot right in front of my driveway, waiting for security to come so I can get into my driveway, waiting for security to come to get out of my driveway. I'm very, very surprised. I sent you videos. I sent you pictures. I sent you 20 emails to tell me that you haven't heard about it since last year. I'm a little bit shocked to hear
Mr.
that.
Feldman,
I feel that
I don't think you've sent me an
I
email in the last 6 months, except for recently.
I've sent you emails in the last.
Maybe this
I sent you
last
at least
week.
3 emails recently in the last couple of months. I sent to other people. I copied. I finally received a response that they'll look into it from security after I said we wanted to respond to the emails. Security told me themselves that a no stopping sign would be a great idea because they have difficulty giving in tickets to people who are next to their car or around their car or in their car idle. They don't feel comfortable giving tickets. I started, because I've been completely ignored, I started confronting people to tell them, could you please move your car so I can get out of my driveway? One guy almost threatened to beat me up. I sent you a copy of that video with that lunatic. I sent you another copy of a video of a guy who went completely on my grass onto the median to take a U-turn into my driveway to get around. This is, even at Pine Beach, you have gates protecting your parking lot, and if you want to get in, you got to go pay a deposit to be a local resident to get a key to have access. This place is a free-for-all for people from Pointe Claire, Lachine, all over the West Island, Montreal, to use this area. I mean, how much more can I send you? Videos, pictures, emails. I mean, seriously speaking, come on.
Okay, so look, I don't see the difference between no stopping and no idling, but we will put no idling signs. But I have to, Mr. Rulo's going to add to this, but our public security can't be there every half hour.
I'm not asking you, this is not a perfect solution. No one's asking a security to be there half an hour. They said to make things better, they should substitute these no parking signs for no stopping signs. I asked Mr. Trudeau about it 10 times. I have at least 10 emails to Mr. Trudeau. Then I started to include Mr. Bro, who took over from the territory. Mr. Rouleau has been part of the emails. You've been getting those emails. Don't say you haven't been getting my emails. Mr. Rouleau?
I got one with the ambulance. That's
Oh,
the
yeah,
only
you
one I
get
got.
the ones before
That's
with
the
the
only
videos,
one.
whatever?
No, the video I never got
Mr.
it,
Bro,
but-
have you been getting my emails?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so Mr. Bro has been getting my emails. So, look, I don't want to bother you guys constantly, but, 20 emails? Come on.
Look, I got your...
No joke, 20 emails. And I'll bring them
well,
next time I come to the meeting, I'll bring the 20.
It's all right. I got the email with the ambulance. I saw that, and I did about a week and a half ago or 2 weeks. We went by your property not too long ago, and Mr. Mayor told me about your problem that you're going through. I spoke with the head of the security, and they told me that they cannot give a ticket to somebody that's next to his car, as you mentioned. So the only solution that will help, and it will not solve completely your problem, but it will help, is to change the no parking sign by no stopping sign. Though that mean even if you are in your car, they can give you a ticket. But like we mentioned, the security cannot be there all the time, but we will make
I don't want the security there all the
No,
time.
but
I don't
just
have
let me
time for
finish.
that.
As soon as we are able to change the sign, we will ask them to go more often just to make sure that mouth to mouth goes, because you have to know that where you live, it's a clear area to go to the St. Lawrence River, because if you don't know it, you won't. By foot, yeah, but even by car. When you say that people come from La Chine and Pointe Claire, you need to know, somebody told you that there's a way to go into there, because you don't pass there, actually. It's a dead end. So we want to make sure that people, that they understand that they cannot go there just to take a look. And we're also going to call, I asked my secretary this morning to, because she came back from vacation, to call Urgence Santé to make sure that this is not, if the ambulance wants to stop somewhere, there's many places somewhere else than there. So that should be.
If it's only Urgence Santé, if it's only Urgence Santé parking there and having his lunch break for an hour, but this is like 5 cars, 2 here, 3 here, kayaks on the roof. I can't get out of my driveway.
But I heard on the email you sent me that I got, it was, I could understood that it was annoying you, the ambulance, because they go there for 45 minutes.
It's not
they
the
leave
place.
their engine on, and so we're going to call them. There's many other places where they can go.
I hope it's not only the ambulance, because I don't want to be a bad guy, I like ambulances, I may need one day, but I don't want to be, but I want to tell you something. Did you get the video of that guy who drove over the median onto my land to make a U-turn, to go like around, and then started yelling at me because I told him, can I get out? Can you move your car? Because you parked right in front of my driveway. Did you get that video? Because you were copied on it. Mr. Rulo, Mr. Bro, did you get that video? No. Wow, I'm shocked.
But
Where are my emails going?
We don't need your video. With the ambulance and with what we know about your situation, we'll take care of it. Give us a few weeks and it's going to be done.
Okay, so no stopping. Listen, it's not a perfect solution. There's always going to be people there.
We don't control everyone
We don't have
in the
police
city.
24/7, but no stopping is going to help.
Exactly, and at least the public security, they will be able to give tickets, even if somebody's in the car.
And, I was sitting there with Felix. We were outside together. Right over there, okay? Because he knows me now. And I tell you.
That's not good when they
I
know
said,
you.
Felix, don't give a ticket while I'm standing outside. I don't want to be getting people coming to my house and knocking on my door and say, hey, you're the guy who got me the ticket. I don't want, it's my home, it's my kids. I got 4 kids there. So, and we have cars. We need
But
to
by
get
the
in and
way,
out.
if you get friends and family,
Yeah.
they don't park in front of your house anymore.
My friend already got a ticket. So my friend got a ticket. Okay, he got a ticket. I said, listen, he got a ticket, but people who like to kayak from La Chine don't get tickets. Anyways, okay, thank you.
Question numéro 4, c'était de Mme Loisel, donc c'est déjà adressé. Question 5, ça vient de Mario Mimoni, 380 Dawson. Question 1, route dangereuse pour les cyclistes et les piétons. Comment pouvons-nous rendre nos routes à l'époque où nous avions une équipe de pavage aux travaux publics sous la direction des Yeomans?
Bonjour, Monsieur Mimoni. On n'est pas là aujourd'hui, on ne retourne pas nécessairement dans le passé. Écoute, j'ai déjà parlé un peu du fait qu'on investe dans nos rues. On va continuer à faire ça comme on a fait dans le passé. Est-ce qu'on pourrait peut-être en faire plus? C'est possible et c'est une discussion que j'ai eue avec M. Rouleau récemment. Il va peut-être dans les prochaines années mettre un petit peu plus dans le repavage à travers la ville. Mais en général, on essaye fort de maintenir nos rues aussi bon que possible. Est-ce qu'il y a des améliorations? Oui, c'est sûr. Et on va essayer de les trouver et les réparer.
Question 2, logement sans but lucratif. Le conseil actuel a-t-il une vision pour plus de logements sans but lucratif à Dorval? Et si oui, sur quels autres sites que Dawson?
Monsieur Momoni, pour le moment, on discute avec de différents organismes ici à Montréal. Il y a une problématique qui n'est pas unique à Dorval. Hein. Montréal, je pense qu'ils ont entre 400 millions et 500 millions de dollars dans leur poche et ils sont incapables de construire quelque chose, eux non plus. On a un projet avec un organisme qu'on essaye de finaliser. Ça fait des années qu'on travaille avec ce dossier-là, le dossier sur Dawson, et soudainement, il n'a pas d'argent. Le problème, ce n'est pas vraiment un problème de Dorval, il a un problème dans cette province. On est au courant, on étudie qu'est-ce que les autres villes font. Il y a différents modèles. On a rencontré un promoteur qui avait un modèle, mais il voulait construire une grosse tour de, là, je me souviens plus, 8 ou 9 étages sur l'avenue Dorval. On ne voulait pas ça. Il va repenser son projet. M. Rouleau et moi, on a discuté avec un organisme, un nouveau organisme, qui amène une différente vision en utilisant des dollars qui viennent du fédéral avec la FCM. Donc, je suis sur le CA, le comité exécutif. Et on a eu une bonne rencontre. Mais à la fin de la journée, il faut que quelqu'un amène des dollars à la table. Nous, la Ville, on est prêt à investir dans des terrains s'il y a quelque chose, ou il y a des terrains qu'ils peuvent acheter eux autres mêmes. On est prêt à écouter. Mais il faut que quelqu'un amène l'argent à la table. Et c'est ça la problématique.
Question 3, Parc Jean-Paul Bernier. Ce conseil a approuvé les ralentisseurs sur Saint-Charles, je m'excuse. Ce qui s'est passé avec la demande pour devant le Parc Jean-Paul Bernier.
Bonsoir, M. Mamonet. Paul Trudeau. Effectivement, dans le compte-rendu du 7 de juin dernier, il avait été mentionné les résultats de 2 semaines de plaques au sol qui nous donnaient une moyenne allant direction est, 45 km/h, direction ouest, 38 km/h. À ce moment-là, le comité, incluant les agents SPVM, ont jugé qu'une demande de dos-down à ce moment-là était peut-être prématurée ou trop, disons, pas importante, mais trop radicale. Et donc, il y a eu une chicane qui a été installée à partir du bollard qui se situait déjà en plein milieu de la rue. Alors, il y a le signe 30, et puis en diagonale, il y a donc 3 obstacles dans la rue, à peu près au milieu du parc. Selon vos commentaires, il semblerait que la vitesse n'est pas réduite d'une façon significative. Alors, en septembre, je vous annonce ça tout de suite, là, on va faire une nouvelle étude, une dernière étude, encore une fois, pour être certain du volume de trafic et aussi de la vitesse impliquée dans les deux sens. Ça va être pour 2 semaines, soit débutant le 11 ou le 18 septembre, de façon à avoir les résultats pour le 5 octobre prochain, lors de la prochaine réunion du comité de circulation. Et puis, à partir de là, selon les résultats et selon le comité, toujours en incluant nos agents SPVM, il y aura peut-être une possibilité, je dis bien une possibilité, qu'on pourrait procéder à l'installation de 2 dos-down sur Dawson dans le tronçon Enfield-Georges V, de façon à sécuriser le parc Bernier, de la même façon que le parc Saint-Charles a été sécurisé Mais vous comprendrez que l'importance du parc Saint-Charles face à Bernier est comme 3 fois plus grande, 4 fois plus grande à cause du volume et du nombre d'affaires qui se présentent là chaque jour. Alors, inquiétez-vous pas, on va prendre en charge la situation sud Dawson et puis je vous reviens aussitôt que j'aurai les résultats fin du mois de septembre et puis on se reparle d'ici ce temps-là. Merci, M. Mamonet.
Merci, M. Trudeau.
Question 6 from Rahan Sareen, 2083 Dunkeeshut, outside of Dorval. Question 1, zoning. I have been sending emails to the inspector about violation of zoning law, and your inspector have been ignoring me. I would like to get some updates about the situation. Or please let me know how can I write a complaint against your inspector who doesn't reply my emails. I have sent her more than 3 emails with photos and still no action have been taken. Question 2, because I believe it's related, zoning. So do you allow individuals to violate zoning law? The land located at the corner of St. Regis and Deacon Avenue in Dorval is presently occupied with parked trucks and trailers, which is against the zoning, and I have been informing your inspector since 4th June 2023, and nothing has been done. Or nothing has been communicated with me about the complaint I have reported. All the dust from that parking lot goes on to our cars, and our cars get dirty. There is no zoning for outside storage and transport allowed on that land, so may I know why there is no action taken?
Thank you, Mr. Serene, for your question. I was there this weekend to inspect the site, and quite clearly the truck situation there is not acceptable. It is my understanding at this point that a mise en demeure has been sent to the property owner. He does not have a 10-day delay. He has to immediately clear the territory. He does not have a 10-day delay to clear the property, as the zoning does not permit of parking trucks on that property. So that's where we stand today. I'm closely watching the situation based on your comments in your email, and I expect that by the end of the week, all the trucks will be taken away. If you have any other concerns, please reach out to me directly. No need to email our inspectors. Just Ms. Arullo and I will take care of you.
Question 7, 2 questions from Fernando Pellicer, 210 Neptune. The first question, question 1, St. Charles Park entrance. Following the reconstruction of the historic MacEachern stone walls at the entrance of the St. Charles Park, there was a residual number of stones which remained unused. My question is, have these residual stones been conserved, and if so, where are they stored? It should be noted that these stones can be used for future repairs to the walls and for the reconstruction of the unfortunately demolished section of the wall along Lakeshore Road.
Mr. Pellicer, thank you for that question. I will say that the rocks from the walls left over from the reconstruction, I understand that many rocks also broke during the process and were broken already in the wall. What is left has been secured in our public works depot on Avocat to be saved for other works. As I mentioned to another resident of Dorval earlier this month, there is not enough stones to fill in the space where the bus stop is. And I have to say, you know, the bus stop is there for a reason. It's at the demand of residents and at the demand of the STM. And taking that bus stop out of circulation would not be ideal because the 2 other bus stops are very far away, and it wouldn't serve the population of the village. That being said, the rocks are stored safely, and should we ever need to use them for some other repair work, they will be available.
Question 2, 12 Dahlia site. According to the Site Planning and Architectural Integration Program, SPAIP, bylaw, number RCM-60C-2015, Chapter 3, Section 35, Paragraph 4, is specifically addressed to 12 Dahlia, i.e. the entire site and buildings of the 80 property. The first article, A, requires that an assessment of the heritage interest of the site be completed before any proposed modifications are permitted. My question is, does the ongoing building condition study of the 12 Dahlia buildings include an assessment of the heritage interest of the buildings? And if not, will the city undertake to complete such an assessment as required by the bylaw RCM-60C-2015? This is a city bylaw and must be respected.
Mr. Pellicer, we will, if we're not at that point yet. So that's number one. We're still waiting for the engineering reports, which I understand will be coming in the next few months. That being said, we know the historical value of the house. That's the reason we bought the property, is for the house. Regarding the annex, if we need to assess it, if that's what our bylaws state, that's what we will do. I do understand, though, that it is 1960s built, and at this point, it may not require an assessment. But if that's what it really does need, and Mrs. Hachena and Monsieur Rouleau will let me know that, if that's what it requires, that's what we will do.
Question 8 from Rachel Cournoyer, 170 McNichol. It's one question, truth and reconciliation. I hope that your recent Facebook comment on this subject will be asked by you at the next council meeting. I would love to answer this question. It would be important to bring forward a forgotten priority raised by Christopher Von Roritz at the last City Council, that the city is overdue on implementing the recommendations of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. The shores of Lac Saint-Louis have been inhabited for 8,000 years, and the City of Montreal designated our shores as being of high archaeological interest. We strongly feel that Council needs to take up and follow through and resolve the issue raised by Mr. Von Roritz and come up with a serious action plan to see how Dorval could implement the Commission's recommendations. These can be found here, and a URL to a PDF is provided.
Thank you for your question, Mrs. Cournoyer. If I remember well from your post, the comment was, at the very least, we should do what so many other government bodies are doing and start their meeting with a land acknowledgement. The reason this interests me is because land acknowledgements are not necessarily the first thing to do, nor the last thing to do in a process of truth and reconciliation. We know that Truth and Reconciliation recognizes the legacy of Canadians' residential school system. And that needs to be taken seriously. The government speaks about 3 pathways in terms of talking about truth and reconciliation, and that's to explore the rich and diverse cultures and voices and experiences of First Nations. So that's very important. There's also the need to better understand our various Indigenous people, known also as Aboriginal peoples. So we need to create programs and to read up and educate our children and our population about these communities. And then, of course, there's reconciliation itself. There's advancing reconciliation and renewing the relationship with Indigenous peoples, which is based on recognition of rights, respect, cooperation, and partnership. And that's where I see land acknowledgement falling into place. We haven't, it's not a forgotten priority. I know Mr. Von Roritz and many members of this council have discussed this when we travel across the country at the FCM. Many provinces have been aggressive in doing and working towards truth and reconciliation, particularly out west. We're starting here. We're just starting. It's baby steps. I'm going to say it's baby steps. We had an Inuit story time reading earlier this summer with Beatrice Deer. I believe it was on June 17th. And the theme was celebrating the rich culture of the Inuit. We recently attended, a few members of council, the bone fishhook making and Aboriginal fishing techniques session that was had on August 19th. These are little baby steps in starting to get the community involved. I've had a discussion with our section head at the library asking questions about what are we offering and how best we can offer our Inuit and even our Mohawk community, how we can have books in the library. That's something that I think we could address, and they're going to get back to us on this in the future. So I think what we need to do is not start with a land acknowledgement statement. We need to start with a dialogue with various Indigenous people of Montreal, various groups. We know that we have a strong Inuit population here in Dorval, and we also need to start a dialogue with the Mohawk community. We need to create some concerted actions, more or less a plan. And that's something that I think we look at doing in 2024 and 2025. I certainly wouldn't want to do a land acknowledgement without having some very long discussions with some of our communities around us. And I think we need to have time to have those discussions. Montreal's been on that path since 2017. We're starting our path more or less this year. And once we have that, and that's going to involve our community as well, because what we're talking about here is important for our community. We can't just do it. We have to get an engagement from our community. And once we have that engagement, then at that point, then we'll talk about a land acknowledgement statement. So I just wanted to bring that up and say that it is not forgotten at all. It's very much in the back of our minds. I know that the few big cities in the province are definitely a little bit ahead of us, but I can seriously say that there are some cities that are not even thinking about it, and the fact that we are, and I'm saying tonight that it is something that we will strive to do more of in the next couple of years is rather significant. So thank you for your question.
Question 9 from Murray Levine, 60 Toe Blake Vaudreuil. Mr. Mayor, do you want me to read all three at once or one by one?
You can go ahead.
Okay. Question 1, Dorval withholding health info from the residents. At the last council meeting, based on your interpretation of what Professor Parisa Aria sent you, Councillor Von Roerts, and myself, Dr. Aria never voiced any health concerns about the black carbon nanoparticle situation in Dorval. 4 years ago, Dr. Aria made several scientific recommendations to the federal government, including long-term epidemiological health studies, moving flights to other airports, and no further expansion of the airport. A screenshot of what we all received is attached, and Dorval has been keeping the information from the public. Would you please read it so that the citizens of Dorval will finally realize that they are breathing in poison and not one level of government seems to care?
Okay, Mr. Von Roerts, I'll just answer that question right now. The document you sent me is a handwritten document. I don't know who wrote it. There's no name on it. It's not acknowledged by anybody. It's in three, maybe 4 different colors. So I don't think that's what the doctor sent us. She wrote a very clear report. It's available online. Anybody can read it. But I'm not going to read a document that's not that has no name of anybody who wrote it. I have no idea if maybe you wrote it, for all I know. So I won't be reading it. But if there's residents in Dorval who want to see that report, they can Google the doctor and they will get that report.
Question 2, public information meeting. At the last council meeting, you agreed to contact Santé Publique and request a public information meeting regarding the black carbon nanoparticle situation in residential areas of Dorval. What was the result of your contacting Santé Publique?
I don't have any news at this time on that, Mr. Levine. It's the summer and it's very hard to get information from the City of Montreal. From the City of Montreal, as soon as I have something, I'll let you know.
Question 3, suing the Canadian government if necessary. The nanoparticle situation is now worse than it was pre-pandemic due to the high number of flights in Dorval. Based on what I have seen of the federal government, I don't expect anything to improve. Quebec has shown that they show no useful purpose. What does Dorval intend to do if Canada ignores the reality of the situation just as they did in 2019, in case you're unaware?
Mr. Levine, we've discussed this, I don't know, it's maybe 9, 10, 11 months in a row now. This issue, you know, the municipal world does not have any jurisdiction on the airport. I don't believe that the provincial government has any jurisdiction on the airport. So I think, and what I've been saying for months, I'm going to reiterate it again today, please bring this information to your local MNA, who is Peter Schiffke, and speak with him. He is the only person that can help you with this. You live in Vaudreuil. He's your member of parliament, and you should have a discussion with him. I've had the discussion with my member of parliament. I've even had discussions with the old Minister of Transport, Mr. Algabra, and we will continue to put pressure that way. But I mean, if you think that Dorval is going to be able to take a Canadian Crown Corporation to court, unfortunately, it's just not going to be possible.
Question 10 is Mike Nozzola. Do you want to read them? Or do you want me to?
Go.
Okay. And I do apologize. Yeah. While you walk there, Mr. Feldman, I'm sorry for not asking you. I didn't realize you were in the room. For earlier when I read your questions instead of...
You know what? Actually, I had much longer questions, but after they disappeared as I was writing them, poof, sometimes that happens when you're writing online, I made my questions very short. But you know what? Everybody understood my point.
If you have more questions, you can come back later. You have 2 more.
Pardon me?
At the end of the session, you can ask another question if you...
One more question to ask. It may be a question for the future.
Okay. Mr. Nozzola, just remember your first question has 4 questions in it, eh? So let's go quickly.
Yeah, but it's on the same topic. You always save me for last, so then time becomes an issue.
You're not last. You're not last.
I want to thank council. I want to thank the city for the new St. Charles Park. It looks very nice. Long overdue, but it looks very nice, and it's being used. It was used a lot this weekend. The people were enjoying themselves. So job well done, finally. I'm on 66 St. Charles, so I know exactly what he's going to because I was ignored for 8 or 9 months 20 years ago, and it led to me becoming a vigilante and coming here every month and complaining about everything I don't like. So they're ignoring me for 8, 9 months, cost them dearly, 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 dearly. They wish they had never done that.
Question period, Mr. Nozzola.
My letters, my telephone calls, my messages, everything was ignored for 8 months. So you say, because he wasn't here, you said there was 8 no stopping, no parking signs. I see, there used to be a few. I don't know where they are because I don't see them. There used to be one in the middle of the park on my side of the street. It's disappeared 2 years ago. Now I always have people parked in front of my house, and if they go to the park, that's fine. But they sit in their car, and they stay there. Sometimes it's 5, 10 minutes. Sometimes it's an hour.
Mr. Nozzola, you're presenting questions.
Yeah,
There's
but
4, 5, 6. Can we get to them?
You need to put no stopping signs there. Like you need to replace the one that was gone. You said there was 8. There's not 8. I don't
There's
see
a lot
them.
of signs, and we agreed to change the signs. So let's go on.
Okay. The issues I have brought up most often at city council meetings is the lack of transparency in which Action Dorval operates.
You mean the council? You mean the council, right? There's no Action Dorval here.
Action Dorval. You're Action Dorval.
No, this is a council. This is a council.
Yeah, but you all operate as Action Dorval. This, finally, we have an independent, a real independent, but you always operated as one. I think even the city manager, is supposed to be neutral, but he acts as part of Action Dorval. Anyways, I think you operate as a team, as not as a city council. You operate as a team. It's very clear. For years it's been like that. Every motion is unanimous by everybody for 20 years, no matter how ridiculous it was.
Can we get back to the
That is not a
questions,
city
Mr.
council. That is a
Nozzola?
team. So you interrupted me.
I know.
You live by the motto, the motto, the less citizens know, the more we can get away with. Your minutes for the July City Council meeting, where you're supposed to give clarity to decisions you make, are 16 pages long. The city of Lachine, as I have mentioned in the past, is much more transparent. For example, all the names and amounts of all the companies who submitted bids are provided in their minutes. Also, A description of the work that has to be done and a history of the particular project are given. The July minutes for the city of Lachine are 171 pages, compared to Dorval's 16 pages, more than 10 times longer than yours. Can this administration finally commit to providing its citizens with an agenda and minutes which are more adequate and detailed on the same issue? Okay, that's the first part of the question.
You know, Mr. Nzola, I don't compare to what other cities do. I know that our
Unfortunately not.
our minutes are very similar to our neighboring cities.
Lachine is a neighboring city, by the way, and theirs are more than 10 times longer. So don't keep saying things like we have 8 stop signs. Don't keep saying things that are totally unfactual.
I don't know how many employees there is in the city of Montreal who do minutes. I have a very small greffe department, and I think what we put out there is at par with what everybody else is doing. We'll certainly take the council, we'll reflect on it, but it doesn't mean that we're necessarily going to go from, would you say, 16 pages to 171 pages.
Well, why don't you go somewhere in between? Why don't you go somewhere in between? That would be okay. That would be okay.
I'll
would be
ask,
okay.
I've already asked the city clerk to make a comparison of what our neighboring cities are doing. And we'll align ourselves with, you know, what
You
is
know,
common practice in this province.
You know what my mother used to tell me when I was a kid? Don't compare yourself to the kids that are worse than you. Compare yourself to the kids that are better than you. So you have to. That's what you have to do. Don't pick a city and say, "Look, we're better than them." I'm talking about the city next door, 171 pages with lots of information. So we know what the city is deciding, why they decided that. Here, we never know. I have to come here and ask you because it's not clear in the minutes. It's not clear anywhere.
We have 3 more questions in your
Yeah.
question.
I would like to ask 3 questions on tonight's agenda. 4.16. Why does a relatively new roof? Okay, you talked about the roof. Can you tell me how old the roof is there? How old is it?
9 years old.
9 years old. Okay.
4.18. That's your next question.
Yeah. A contract to design and construct a covered rink. You have already done this once. Was most of the money spent for nothing? How you are coming back with a much more, an inferior project which will cost less? Are you coming back with a much more inferior project which will cost less?
Okay. So I'll take the time to explain this properly. I think it's clear to everyone that we had done some initial studies, feasibility studies, about a year and a half ago. We did some engineering studies and we did some architectural plans. Subsequent to that, we had people here at council discuss the proximity of the rink to the homes. So we listened to that and we decided to move the rink even further away from the backyards of the people in that area. And so we had to do more studies. And this is where, you know, what we're doing is we're drilling into the ground to see where, if there's water underneath, you know that area is a fairly damp area. And we had to do some additional work. All of that cost $650,000. Okay, don't quote me on the exact amount, but it's about $660,000. We went to tender on that, and the project came in at $11.5 million. Okay, council chose not to accept that project, and so there is a different process that we can use that's available to us as a council and a city. And that's what they call a design-build project. And this is where you work with a contractor, you scope out your project, it's defined, and there's a price tag that's associated to it, but you must respect that project. You cannot change it along the way. Once it's approved, it's final. And what we're going to be approving tonight is a different roof structure than we had before. At the end of the day, it was a wood roof before. It will be a wood roof, but it is a roof that's been built a few times already in this province, and so there's no engineering studies to be done to build that roof, and it's being done by a company who's built it before, so they know how to tool up their factory to do this. There's a change in the shape of the chalet and the storage area for the Zamboni and the mechanical equipment. It's slightly different, but we're still keeping the functionality that we wish to have. We'll still have a very high burn behind the arena, and I believe we still have the wall in the back, or is it just a high burn? It's just a burn. That will be about 5 feet, maybe a little bit higher, with trees and plantations to create a sound barrier. Tonight, if council so desires, that project came in at $9.1 million. So a savings from the original project of $2.5 million. So take $2.5 million, take away 650, and we're about $1.9 million of savings on a project. I think it was a good reflection. I think it was a good that council took this option, and I'm very pleased with what it looks like. It retains the character that we wanted.
Because you didn't have a citizen consultation on this, which another question was about that. You say you discussed it here. You did not have a citizen consultation. Maybe you could have avoided some of those delays and extra fees if you would have thought about the people that live there.
Well, we didn't have any extra fees. Actually, we're saving about $1.9 million.
You're moving the rink, and you got to drill more holes. You said it's going to cost you $650,000.
We did those studies before, and we spent that money before.
You said-
Ultimately,
didn't you say
Mr.
that
Nizola-
because you're moving it, you got to drill more holes, and it's going to
Mr.
cost
Nizola,
$650,000?
that's not what I said.
That's not what you said. Okay, I thought
I said that
that's what you
we
said.
spent $650,000 on engineering studies, architectural studies, about a year and a half ago. Then we were presented with a project that was $11.5 million, and today we're going to approve a project at $9.1 million. It's a savings of about $1.9 million. I think
But I don't know if you're counting all the costs that you had, but that's fine. That's fine. I'm not gonna start nitpicking about every little thing. The other one was 6.4. So minor exemption of a lot. Okay, so when you look at 6.4, okay, and I've mentioned this many times because I actually find it insulting. Okay, so if you tell a resident or anybody in any city, approval of a minor exemption for lot 6 million, lot number 6,386,000, that doesn't tell anybody anything, okay? This could be right next door to me, I wouldn't know. So can't you put an address there? Can't you put a street? Can't you put something else to inform the people you're working for, this is what we're doing? Instead of just a lot number, which doesn't say anything to anybody. So to me, I find that insulting. And when I have to mention that 10 times, and it's still always the same, I find it even more insulting.
Mr. Mayor, can I just add a comment to that? So, Mr. Zola, I agree with you that you brought this up a number of times, but I believe, I'm going to say 6 to 12 months ago, we did change, and typically, Section 6 of the agenda does now list what's being approved or rejected, et cetera. It's not on tonight's agenda, but that does normally happen. 6.4 tonight, I realize, doesn't do that, but I just want to point out, I think that comment was taken in good faith in the past, and I don't remember when, and the council has modified how they tackle that. For this specific item...
I've seen it before.
Yeah.
I don't mention it every time I see it.
No.
I've seen it before,
Yeah.
with no addresses, with
Yes,
no street,
but I also
with no
want to...
street. Okay, fine, fine.
Now,
We're going to move on.
just for 6.4, it doesn't have a specific address, as far as if I understand correctly.
Can you tell me now which place we're talking about there?
It's on St. Regis. The address is not given yet because it's an empty lot.
Okay. But if you put St. Regis, that's...
We agree.
That's,
We agree, and we'll do better.
so I know it's very far from my house, so
We agree.
It's actually, most people think it's in Point Claire.
Okay. That was all one question, by the way, Mr. Nizola. So let's get through the last two quickly, please.
Editing is a two-way street. last month, I'm sorry, I printed too small and I still can't see it too good. Last month, I asked if you could edit the webcast where you made false and defamatory accusations against me. You later admitted that those statements were incorrect and inaccurate. You stated that you would not edit them out, yet you did edit out the past webcasts where you, for your benefit, you edited the webcast which highlighted a relationship between Action Dorval and a convicted contractor. Why can you not edit this other webcast to adjust a wrong that you committed against me?
Okay, well, Mr. Nozola, I think just tonight alone, you've made numerous false and defamatory accusations against me. That being said,
What
I've never-
what did I say tonight that
I've
was
never
false and
edited-
defamatory? What did I say?
I've
And what
never-
did I say against you that was false and defamatory? Did I ever wave up evidence and say, you're not speaking the truth, everything you wanted is right here, I gave it to you, and that was totally incorrect?
well, you
Tell
failed.
me when,
you failed to
when did
recognize-
I defame you? When did I say lies? When did I accuse you of anything? You said I said that tonight. Tell me when did I do that?
When you say that Action Dorval operates in a manner that is not very clear and transparent.
Yeah. So I think that's
But
absolutely a fact. It's
not-
absolutely a fact.
not a fact.
You
This
even
is a
admitted.
council.
You even admitted that the address and the street is not there. Okay? That's absolutely a fact. And
Okay.
first of all, I said Action Dorval. I didn't say you in particular. I said Action Dorval. Everybody, all of you. Do not,
Okay.
when you give minutes that are 16 pages and Lachine gives minutes of 171 pages, I think that's a lack of transparency.
All right, okay. So that being said, I don't think I've never edited any of our minutes myself. And I don't think that since
There was
Since
one,
I've been
there
mayor,
was one
I think-
particular
I think
city
it was done-
webcast that was edited,
Yeah.
where we talked about why you were supporting a convicted criminal contractor who did a lot of crappy jobs in the city.
well, that's speculation,
You
Mr.
edited. No,
Mr.
it's not speculation that he was convicted. It's not speculation that he was called the leader of the racket in the
Okay,
city of
but
Laval.
Mr. Nozola,
That's not
he
that's
is-
speculation.
he
That's
is-
fact.
He is not part of the company, to my knowledge, according to the documents that
But you
the,
did edit that website, that telecast out. You did edit that out.
I don't think so.
Because you didn't want the public to know about that.
I think it was done in another administration's term. I
No,
don't-
no,
you know, I
that
don't think
was,
so.
that was in the administration that you were in, So it was, so don't say another administration. You were in it. You were in that administration. You were
But
part of that administration.
I didn't edit it.
I'm not saying you edited, but you gave the order, you or the other mayor gave the order to edit that tape.
I didn't give any order to edit a tape, Mr.
Okay, but the
Nozola.
tape was edited, okay? It was edited by someone, by the city of Dorval, by the administration. It was edited. You're gonna say it's not you, but when you're the mayor or you're the second in command, you're responsible for everything that goes on. It's not you, so who was it? You want to tell me who it was? Doesn't matter who. Somebody did it. Somebody
I believe your
edited.
comments were defamatory, and that's why they were taken out. Let's move on.
No,
We're-
are you going to edit out where you made those statements that were totally incorrect and inaccurate, defamatory to me? Why don't you edit those out?
I haven't looked at them. I don't believe I'm going to edit anything
Why not?
because I don't think they were defamatory.
What do you mean they were not defamatory?
You say they
You
were.
said everything you asked for in your access to information was given to you. That's not true. It was not given to me. You later admitted that it was not given to me. You later said you're going to get it in August.
Well, this-
August is almost over. I still didn't get it. I still didn't get it.
Mr. Nozola,
You-
I'm not following you at all.
No.
And so I think we need
You
to
are
move-
following me, but you want to sidestep. I asked you for all the names of everyone who sits on every committee in the city of Dorval. All the names of everyone who sits in every committee in the city of Dorval. It's not a ludicrous request. I want to know who's on the planning committee. It's not a ludicrous request. You didn't give me that. You didn't give me that. And then you said you did get it. Here's what you got. You got everything you asked for, and that was untrue. You later said
Mr.
I was
Nozola.
wrong when I said that.
Mr. Nozola, I just clarified with the city clerk here, and they're preparing a full document for you. I know that the city clerk was on vacation. She's entitled to vacation, so she was on vacation. She's preparing a very detailed document. I've supplied her with all of the names of all of the committees that you're requesting, and you should have them shortly.
I made the
Can
request.
we move on to your next
I
question,
made the
please?
request in February, by the way. People go on vacation. We're now at the end of August. The law says you're supposed to give me all that information in 20 days. You didn't give it to me yet.
Mr. Nzola, you keep asking for the same things over and over and over.
Oh,
Okay, so-
because you don't answer
and we
correctly.
and we
you-
provide them, and we
Okay.
provide them. So let's move on.
You
please.
said July, you said August, what happened? Okay, we're moving on.
Mr. Nizola, I'm just going to ask you to change the tone of your voice
I'm
and
sorry.
to read the sign that's in the back.
I'm
We
sorry.
will not tolerate that tone anymore. I want you to understand that. I want to be clear on that.
I'm sorry, I do speak loud because my hearing is not too good. Besides my eyesight, my hearing is not too good.
It's not the
I do speak
loudness.
loud. I work with heavy machinery, with loud machinery.
I agree
I'm
with-
used to speaking loud. At home, they tell me I speak too loud. I'm sorry.
It's not,
it's
listen
not,
to me, 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Listen to me.
Yeah.
It's not it's the tone of your voice, not how loud it is. It's
Yeah.
okay. It's the tone
I-
of your voice.
I
would
understand.
ask you
I
to
under-
read let me finish, please. I would ask you to read the sign in the back of the room and pay respect to everyone here, please.
Okay. The tone of other people's voice bothers me too, but
Okay, question
you
number-
have to live with it.
Question number 3, Mr. Nzola. Mr. Nzola.
I would like to have all information about future projects that may be going up in Dorval. As per your new zoning of our master, as your new rezoning of our master plan. I asked you a few months ago which developers you have spoken to. You refused to give their names. As mayor of Dorval, you hold meetings on behalf of citizens of Dorval and not your personal benefits. Can you provide citizens with the names of developers and details of projects they are proposing?
I cannot legally give you names of projects that are not approved by the council.
Yeah, but when it's approved, it's too late for the citizens to say, we don't like that. We don't want you to do that.
Mr. Nzola, the law is very clear. I
What-
can
what-
have a
what does the law
discussion.
s-
I
what
can
does the law
have-
say?
I
Is there
can, Mr. Nzola,
Yeah.
the law in the province is very clear. I can have a discussion with a developer. Developers come to see us to know what we would like to see in our city. That is allowed. What I can't do, what's not legal, Mr. Nzola, is to speak about projects that have not been approved by the council.
Like I just said, after it's approved, it's too late for the citizens to do anything after it's approved.
Well, you'll hear
So
all about those
how-
projects
How come it's
before-
illegal? How come
before.
it's illegal? How come it's illegal? Developer can't come and ask every single citizen, I want to do this, what do you think? So they
Yes.
come and ask you.
Mr. Nzola.
On behalf of- on
Mr.
behalf-
Nzola,
on behalf of all the
If you feel
citizens
that
of
my
Dorval.
statement is incorrect, speak to a lawyer.
No,
My
I'm
statement
ask-
is correct.
I'm
and
asking
we
you,
need
I'm
to
asking
move
you,
on.
can you send me the law that you're talking about that says you're not allowed to give names of developers that you meet with?
Perfect.
Are you allowed to give are you allowed to give names of anybody you meet with?
I can, Mr. Nzola, don't twist my words. I cannot speak. You asked for all the projects. That's what you said. I want all the information about future projects. I told you I cannot speak about future projects that have not been
Okay, so
approved by
send me-
council.
Can you please send me the law that specifies that?
Yeah.
Okay, and so what about the names of developers that you've spoken to? Can you give me the names of developers that you've spoken to?
No, I don't discuss that.
Is that against the law too, for you to say that, or that's your?
Well, people come, people ask questions. You know,
But
it
when
doesn't
they're-
mean,
when
but that's
they're-
okay.
When they're talking to a public official, they're
Yeah.
talking to the public. They have to know that it's public information. When it's not like they're coming to me and talking to me at my house. It's a public institution, the government.
Yeah.
So they have to know that.
Okay, miss.
They have to know that it's.
Change the subject, please.
I've answered the question, Mr.
So
Nzola.
is it against the law to give names of developers that you've spoken with?
Next question, Mr.
So
Nzola.
you're not answering that question.
I told you I cannot, I don't give names of people that I see to. They, for whatever reason, I see people every day. I don't give out names.
Okay, thank you.
Just to address any ambiguity, the questions are read in the order in which they are received. Question 11, from Teresa Glaudecki, 291 Hanfield Circle. Question 1, item 4.16, roof Dorval Aquatic and Sports Complex. Why does this have to be done? Which company did the original work? The work originally? Was the work not well done? And does the city have any recourse against them?
So, Mrs. Glodicki, I think Mr. Rulo answered that earlier today. I know you and I are going to chat tomorrow on a different subject, so if you have any more questions, you can ask me at that time.
Question 2, item 5.7, green shift for the city of Dorval. What exactly is meant by this item, and what do you mean by a green shift for the city of Dorval?
It's a good question, Mrs. Kladicki. I think there's something lost in the transition there, and translation. Look, recently the city acquired, I believe, 10?
It's 14.
14 electric trucks in vehicles. Vehicles. We'll call them
10 vehicles.
10 vehicles. 10 vehicles. We'll be posting a picture of all that in hopefully this week. And what we're talking about here is purchasing the charging stations and all of the arms to charge those vehicles. So that's what we're talking about here. It's all part of the discussions that we're having in the city about being a greener, more environmentally friendly city. It's also part of what came out of the consultations on urban planning, where people want us to be a little bit greener, and not a little bit, quite a bit greener. And this is all part in that shift of changing the types of vehicles that we use for around the city. Mr. Rouleau?
If I may add, Mr. Mayor, the charging station will be installed all around the city, and it's for everyone, not only just for the city. So for everyone who wants to charge their car within the city, they will be able at 14 different places in the city.
Question 3, 4.10 SPAIP. What exactly is the city planning to change in the SPAIP? Which sections will be affected? Why is it being done?
Good question. Mr. Rouleau, would you answer that one?
Well, when we did when we went to see the population in fall, everyone asked, one of the requests was to integrate with, the new project will have to be integrated with the old ones. And the bylaw that we have is very, very old. So that's why we're giving a contract today to make sure that what we're going to do in the near future will respect what the population told us in September, October, and November.
Question 12 from Vicki Jones at 350 Lakeshore Boulevard. Question 1, drafting of a new bylaw SPAIP, PIA in French. Please explain the reasoning behind this proposed new bylaw. Are there going to be public consultations, not presentations of what your professionals have decided to do? Will this also be BC2, and was it given out to tender? Please supply a full answer.
So I think Mr. Rouleau just explained that, Mrs. Jones. So if there's any, maybe...
Well, actually, the last sentence on the question was, will there be also BC2? No, the tender will be giving out, if the council goes through, to another company, which was the lowest bid, the only one that we receive, and it's Stantec.
Question 2, St. Charles Park, number 1. It is a good-looking park. Well done. However, several issues have come up, including lighting on all night. This has a serious impact on wildlife, insects, and human with light pollution. I could reference many examples, but I trust you all know of the perils. Please, will something be done to stop this, like shut the lights at midnight, at least? Bike racks. A serious need to supply bike racks at the entrance to the play areas to discourage riding around the area. Thank you.
Mrs. Jones, in regards to the lighting, so my answer here is going to be guided a little bit, because the park, yes, it's open for people to use, but there's still some deficiencies that are there that the contractor needs to address, and this is a normal process. We do that. I requested that the park be open for the end of the summer, but we still need to go through this process where they make sure that everything is as the tender bids were approved. So one of those things that needs to be addressed is lighting. I know that on the container, which is the public washrooms, there is a spotlight. I've been there at night, and it does provide a lot of light into the neighbors right behind them who are on Chemin Bord du Lac, and it's my understanding that this will be corrected either by the contractor or possibly even by our public works team. But this is known, it's going to be addressed in the next little while. As well as in regards to the lights in the park, these are fairly, though they're all new, and they're not very strong. However, they will be turned off 50% at 11 o'clock at night. We do need to have some lights on in the park. As you know, it's that container is a very sheltered area, and we certainly don't want people to be gathering there at night. So even though we have low voltage lighting in that area, we will drop them down to 90% at 11 o'clock, which is the exact same time that the playing field lights are turned off. 50%. Yeah, thank you. Bike racks, again, parts of there's parts of the park that's not finished. The entranceway, what some people call phase 2. There's bike racks yet to be installed. There's still some outdoor furniture that needs to be installed. That being said, based on what I saw in the park this weekend, the city will probably have to look at getting more bike racks as well. The 2 that we have probably not going to cut it based on the amount of people there in this while. So yeah, certainly we'll add if we need.
Question 3, St. Charles Park, number 2. The poor gentleman who lives on Martin and has had his basement flooding after 43 years of never having an issue. Now his beloved fruit trees and mini orchard will be dying for lack of sunlight. Maple trees have been planted along the fence of his property on his south side within feet of his fruit trees, which will soon shade his whole garden. This is totally unacceptable. The people who signed off on this need to have a relook at this failure of understanding shadow and plants. Please rectify it before it is too late, and an image is provided.
Mrs. Jones, I measured the trees today, and they're about 5 centimeters. They don't give any shade on anything at this time. We'll certainly look at what the concern is with the property owner across the street, if that's really is a problem. That's basically it. When we talk, I just want to mention something about the park and trees. I did a count today. There was 9 trees planted in the parking lot area, the one you're referring to, 2 at the entrance of the park and 3 on each side of the parking lot. And they were planted there mainly to create eventually shade on the parking lot. And those trees are going to take 10, 15 years before they even start looking somewhat mature. And as well, we planted anywhere between 18 and 20 trees in the park. If we do that count, we're probably 26 to 28 trees in that park that we've planted. I think we've done a great job in making sure that we create we plant trees, something that's very important to our environment, and making sure that there's shade in the park. I saw people sitting in the sun and in the shade today, and it'll be appreciated by everyone. But to your question, I'll sit with Monsieur Rouleau and see what the situation with the 3 trees of the residents you're discussing. Thank you.
Questions 13 from Karen Bleakley, 1150 Montigny. Question 1, urban planning consultations. I attended the densification consultations, would like to participate in future urban planning ones. To be prepared to participate in such meetings fully and to ensure better use of the time allotted, can the council commit to sharing documentation ahead of the sessions? A minimum of 1 week should suffice.
Mrs. Bleakley, it's a valid point. At this point, I don't think we're having any more urban planning consultations. We did those earlier this year. We will probably have a presentation of some changes that are coming as a result of that. But I'll take your point for what it is. It's a good point for any future consultations.
Question 2, bicycle lane bollards. Can the council please cite the references, safety studies, that resulted in the installation of bollards along stretches of the bike path along Dawson, east of Dorval Avenue, and Lakeshore, just before Lachine? I no longer cycle along those stretches because they actually make the situation more dangerous. Often there is debris, rocks, tree branches, glass in the lane, and the bollards make it impossible to exit the lane to avoid the debris. The stretch heading to Lachine does not seem wide enough. What studies or standards supported these installations?
Okay. So we're not going to get into technical details tonight, Mrs. Bleakley. I can sit down with you if you wish, but the bollards are placed at a distance that is an acceptable distance. I think the issue at hand is that there's a lot of them, and rightly so, because it's a big bottleneck. That's the entrance to Lachine, if people aren't aware. And the fact that there's so many of them makes it maybe feel visually as if there's a wall. And so we will have a look at that. I've heard of other accidents there. And if we remove every other one, I think it'll be much more comfortable for everybody to ride their bikes safely. It's not that they're too close to the sidewalk. I just think that people are, get intimidated by the fact that they're driving by so many bollards. So we're going to make that change, but I'll reiterate that it's not a great place to ride a bike, and people should get off the lakeshore as quickly as possible once they're in the village and get on Dawson, which is a much safer route. I will continue to say that even though La Route Verte is Chemin Bord du Lac, it is not a great place for people to be riding their bikes, and particularly with families when we have a bike path on Dawson that more or less crosses the city from Lachine to Pointe-Claire.
Question 3, street markings. What is the normal...
Sorry, may I speak, Mr. Mayor?
You can.
Okay, to that question, it's been a year that I asked to look at that because I notice I'm a biker and I notice it's way too close to each other, the bollards. And contrary to what you said, the bollards are too close to the sidewalks. It needs 1.5 meters, and at many, many places, they had 1 meter, and then you have to ride on a manual, which makes it very dangerous. In the village, I do encourage people to go with their bikes to encourage all our little shops. So there's a big reflection to do on how we can have active mobility by foot or by bikes to go encourage all our commerce. So we need to reflect on that as soon as possible.
Thank you.
Monsieur le maire.
Oui.
Juste pour renchérir à ce que M. Brault vient de parler, effectivement, au mois d'octobre dernier, avec le spécialiste des travaux publics, il avait été question d'éliminer certains bollards. Maintenant, il y a eu des changements de personnel. Ça ne s'est pas fait, mais ça va être une discussion à suivre. Mais concernant la largeur, cette personne-là avait vérifié au MTQ, et puis la plupart des bollards sont à 1,3. Et à ce moment-là, il y a 4 ans, il nous avait mentionné que c'était correct. C'est tout ce que j'ai à dire. Merci.
Monsieur le maire. Très rapidement, il faut comprendre que l'emprise de rue de Lakeshore, c'est une très vieille rue. On n'a pas d'emprise à cet endroit-là. C'est pour ça qu'on a une problématique. Il est tout à fait vrai que nous avons discuté, M. Brault, il y a plusieurs mois. Il faut comprendre qu'on a eu beaucoup de retard au niveau, puis c'est pas une excuse, c'est des faits. On a eu des problématiques avec le verglas, donc on a pris énormément de retard. Et aux travaux publics, on a vécu certaines situations qui se reviennent à la normale présentement. Et c'est toujours sur la liste des retraits, même si l'année est presque finie, on va les retirer. On arrive là dans la liste des choses à faire. Donc on a du retard, je m'en excuse, mais ça va être fait. Pour ce qui est de la largeur de Lakeshore, tout ce secteur-là, ce tronçon-là est sous étude. Et dans l'étude de mobilité et l'étude des pistes cyclables, on espère trouver des solutions, mais on ne fait pas de miracle puisque l'emprise n'est pas large. Mais on est en train de regarder plusieurs solutions qui seront soumises au conseil pour décision d'ici 2024.
Question 3, street markings. What is the normal process for repainting street markings in Dorval? We are almost at the end of summer, and many intersections have not been repainted. Are they supposed to all be repainted every year? Is there a set rotation? Or is it based on need, i.e. quality of what's left?
So this is a good question because we have different types of material. There are some intersections that are done with, I guess it's an epoxy. It's acrylic paint. It was used a lot in the past. Recent changes to environment rules really limit the amount that we can use. It gets into our water system, into our waterways, and the government has deemed it to be not appropriate for street markings. Cities do use it in very limited spaces. For example, we have some in the Dorval Village at the intersection of Martin and Chemin Bord du Lac. And we usually do those every 3 years. After 3 years, they become worn out. The other product that we use is a water-based paint. It's non-toxic. The problem with it is that it disappears or it fades very, very quickly, and you need to do it almost every year. There's a big cost in doing this, and it's not that we're not doing everything. I've discussed the issue with Mr. Rouleau. We have had issues with our contractor. Part of it is related to the amount of rain this year. They do this at night, and if it's raining at night, and it rains frequently at night this year for some reason, they can't do their work. So are they on schedule? They're not on schedule. We're working on a list currently right now. I know that they were very flexible with us lately. They got the markings around St. Charles Park done in what was a construction site within 24, 48 hours. So that was good for us. But there is still work to be done in the city. We'll continue to do them as we move forward. And yes, it's been a little bit longer this year, and we'll strive to work more diligently with our contractor for the next season. So I think that's all the questions, Mr. Von Roerts. If there's no more questions in the room.
I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
Want me to stand up or I can do it from here?
Okay, so we'll take them at the microphone if you don't mind.
Just to ask you, what there's on Ducharme, the marina there, are there any plans? What's happening with that?
Absolutely, there's plans. The city has approved multiple, at least two, so I say multiple resolutions to purchase that property from the federal government. It belongs to the Department of National Defense. They put it up for sale many, many years ago, and it's getting many, many years now, eight or more years. There's a process that has to be followed. It has to be sold to, there's an order in how it can be sold. Indigenous groups first, other federal departments second, provincial government, municipal government, and then if no one wants it, then it can be sold privately. We have expressed our interest on buying that property. However, a provincial government wants to decontaminate, and it's a little bizarre, but the land extends into the lake, so it's under the water, but it's considered to be land, and the provincial government wants to decontaminate it, this section. I find that a little odd, personally, given the nature of the lake, but that's where we stand right now, and the process is just completely stalled. I know that Mr. Rouleau and I met with our deputy, provincial deputy, Monsieur Enrico Ciccone, last week, so that he, as he returns back to the fall session, can bring that up with the Minister of the Environment, find out where we are on that file.
So you're looking at least 3 to 5 years.
I would have told you that 5 years ago. So I really can't give you I can't give you an estimate because
So we shouldn't worry about it in the short term about something happening there soon. This is a long process.
It's a long process, but what I want to assure everyone is that it's the city that wants to buy it. It will not be sold. It can't be sold to the public. I mean, we made our resolution, and they have the intent, and they're working with us. So it's going to be a place where residents of Dorval can access the lake in a marina-type environment to do paddle boarding, to do sailing. It's not going to be a big marine
So where my
motorboat.
concern lies is I'm adjacent to that place. And where I am, there's no rules. If you go to Pine Beach, you got rules. If you go to any of our local parks, there are some rules in terms of lighting, in terms of people accessing the area. They need to be a Dorval resident. They may need to have a key. It's not a free-for-all. So what I'm worried about, this for sure, this place eventually is going to attract a lot of people because people like to kayak on Lac St. Louis. People like to use the lake. If people can't access it, people from Lachine, they're going to know about it. It may cause a spillover effect that may create even more of a bottleneck in front of my parking, in front of my driveway, because now we have more traffic coming in. Whereas there will be rules over there, there'll be no rules where I am, or at least no fence, no rules. It's the back door to
Well-
enjoy the lake if you can't get in through the front door.
I think, I don't know what the site's going to look like. We have made absolutely no plans. So at this time, I'm not going to say that it's going to be this or that or something else. It was a marina at one time. The cadets used to use it. Our intention here is to give an alternate location for people to access the lake. I don't think you paddleboard at night. I don't think that would be a very safe
Oh, you'd
thing.
be surprised. You have people coming at night. They're going to the little island. I've already had the fire department use my place as a stakeout to save people on the island. I had to give them access to my home because supposedly my home is the closest access to that island. So they said, thank you very much. They went and they SOS. There was an SOS call, and they saved those kids who are stuck on there was a distress on the island. So people are going there at 1 a.m. It's unbelievable. They're having bonfires there. They're having all kinds of. Have you been to that island?
No.
Go take a walk on the island. They're having, voodoo sessions there. There's all kinds of things going on there. Go, get a kayak, go on the island. I'll let you come and you can park in my driveway. And there's all kinds. It's unbelievable. So this is what it is. There's no. Mr. Bro, he spoke to me. He says, I live in a school sector and I got people, but this is like 24 hours here. We're not talking about during the school hours here. So that's why there's got to be. But this is something that's far away. So I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna.
I'm going to speculate
this
that
detail.
we're 3-4 years away from even getting to the next step, and it could be longer.
We're a long way. And just to say, Mr. Nizola, is that it? Yeah. So, we have this beautiful park now, and we don't want to see. And I live a little bit further away from him.
Don't tell me it's too busy.
No.
Oh,
I like
okay.
the park. The park is great, but it's just that we don't want people parked there, smoking and doing whatever they're doing in the car in front of a park. People shouldn't be hanging out there, and you got a lot of people hanging out. It's a residential area. Now we're going to have kids next door, and you got a lot of. Not everybody's a good person who comes around the area. That's all I have to say.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, hi, I'm sorry to
Yeah.
keep you so late. I have a comment to make and a
Yeah,
question.
Very
First,
quick, please.
Who said very quickly?
I did.
Oh, I said I'll try to be very quick.
Okay.
I find it important to recognize. In one of my communications, I made reference to $9 million. I think that was to you, Mr. Rouleau, that is readily available to review background checks and perhaps to add criteria. So I'd advise you to apply for that budget, which is readily available, as you probably know. And secondly, in regards to another communication, I sent the regulations that have been applied in the last 2 years from Tennis Canada and Tennis Quebec. And my question would be to Madame Rouleau, Is there any way that you could establish any verification that these conditions and standards are being applied under the City of Dorval, given that it may be a non-profit, but I do believe laws apply to every organization? Could you provide that for me, please, Madam? The assurance that the standards and the ethics, it's called the Integrity Courts by Tennis Canada.
Okay, so
now, I thank you. I just
so
wanted to make sure, yes.
If you send the city clerk
I did already,
an email
just now.
with a request of access
I
to
did.
information, she'll
Yeah,
provide
I
that
just
for you.
forwarded it while I was sitting there, and I said, I'm sitting in front of you. Look, I appreciate all your time and your efforts, and I think we can do better together. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a good evening. With that, folks, we will begin the session at point 1.2? No, 2.1. 2.1.
Oui, Monsieur le maire, ce serait pour approuver le procès verbal de la séance du 17 juillet 2023 tel que rédigé.
J'appuie.
Secondaire, s'il vous plaît.
Je l'avais appuyé.
Merci. 2.2, dépôt de procès verbal de correction de la greffière. Oui. 3.1, règlement de délégation. C'est un dépôt. Est-ce qu'on a d'autres questions? Merci. 4.1, fourniture, plantation et entretien d'arbres.
Oui, je propose, Monsieur le maire, d'autoriser l'émission d'un bon de commande à l'entreprise Construction Vert Dur Inc., plus bas soumissionnaire conforme pour la fourniture, la plantation et l'entretien d'environ 350 arbres sur le territoire de Dorval pour une période de 3 ans au montant global de 354 115,94 sous toute taxe comprise, conformément à sa soumission ouverte le 29 juin 2023.
J'appuie, Monsieur le maire.
Merci. 4.2.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, would be to repeal the resolution CM 2306-256 adopted on June 19, 2023.
I would like to second.
Merci. 4.3, location de camions 10 à 12 roues, s'il vous plaît.
Bon, je propose 4.3. Monsieur le maire, je propose d'autoriser l'émission d'un bon de commande à l'entreprise CWI Roxborough, entreprise conjointe, pour la location de camions 10 à 12 roues avec benne basculante, incluant les opérateurs, au montant global de 754 094,28 sous, toute taxe comprise, pour le transport de la neige en vrac pour la saison hivernale 2023-2024, conformément à sa soumission ouverte le 6 juillet 2023. Ce contrat étant assorti de 4 options de renouvellement d'une année chacune.
J'appuie.
Merci. 4.4, fourniture sur demande de vêtements de travail pour les employés Col Bleu.
Oui, Monsieur le maire, je propose de renouveler pour une 3e année d'option le contrat TP 2020-15 accordé à l'entreprise Promotion Plus, le groupe d'importation et de distribution Hugo Inc., pour la fourniture sur demande de vêtements de travail pour les employés Col Bleu de la Cité de Dorval pour la saison 2023-2024 au montant de 29 653,29 sous, toute taxe comprise, ajusté selon l'indice des prix à la consommation.
J'appuie, Monsieur le maire.
Merci. 4.5, renouvellement annuel des licences Microsoft.
Oui, Monsieur le maire, je propose d'autoriser le renouvellement pour la 2e année d'option du contrat octroyé à l'entreprise informatique Amerix, Corporation Amerix Inc., pour la fourniture d'abonnements annuels du logiciel Microsoft 365 pour 2023-2024, incluant les différents lots du manufacturier Microsoft, au montant de 48 417,54 sous, toutes taxes comprises, tel que détaillé dans sa soumission ouverte le 1er juin 2021, et d'autoriser une enveloppe budgétaire de 5 000 pour couvrir les ajustements du nombre d'utilisateurs qui pourraient être requis en cours de contrat pour une enveloppe totale de 53 417,54 sous, toutes taxes comprises.
Je seconde.
Merci. 4.6, fourniture de sacs en papier pour la collecte de feuilles.
Mr. Mayor, I propose that we issue a purchase order to the company Saco Sol Inc. to provide 20,250 paper bags for the leaf collection that will take place in fall 2023 for a total amount of $16,879.76, all taxes included, consistent with the bid opened August 7th, 2023. And to clarify, once again, residents will be receiving 5 bags, and I believe if they want more, they're available from Public Works.
I second, Mr. Mayor.
Merci. 4.7, travaux dans... non. Oh, travaux d'entretien annuel sur les 2 surfaceurs de l'Aréna Edgar Rouleau.
Je propose, Monsieur le maire, d'autoriser le paiement des frais de réparation de l'entreprise Robert Boileau, Inc. pour des travaux et des pièces de remplacement sur les surfaceuses Zamponi au montant de 24 168,25 $, toutes taxes comprises, conformément à ses soumissions du 11 juillet 2023.
J'appuie, Monsieur le maire.
Merci, c'était Paul. 4.8, projet de réflexion du mur nord à l'hôtel de ville.
Monsieur le maire, je propose qu'on autorise un montant additionnel de 51 398,85 $, toutes taxes comprises, au contrat octroyé à GMP Construction suite à la conciliation budgétaire des avenants survenus lors du projet et suite à la résiliation de son contrat qui a engendré des coûts additionnels pour la cité.
J'appuie, Monsieur le maire.
Merci. 4.9, service professionnel.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. It would be to retain the professional service of Laboratoire GS Inc., the only bidder to have provided a compliance price to carry out the quality control of the material and soil characterization as part of the storm sewer reconstruction project, the construction of a retention structure on 1st and 2nd Avenue, as well as Roy and LaPage Avenue, for a total amount of $65,644.98, including taxes, in accordance with the tender opened on August 9, 2023.
I second that.
Thank you. And that was the project we were talking about in one of our questions today on Roy LaPage. Start of that project. 4.5, service professionnel dans le cadre de rédaction d'un nouveau règlement sur les plans d'implantation et intégration architecturelle PIA. 4.10.
Je propose de retenir les services de l'entreprise Tantec Expert Conseil Limité, seul soumissionnaire conforme pour accompagner la cité de Dorval dans la rédaction d'un nouveau plan PIA au montant global de 114 975 $, toutes taxes comprises, conformément à sa soumission ouverte le 26 juillet 2023.
J'appuie, Monsieur le maire.
Question. Est-ce qu'on sait approximativement le timing de ce projet, quand on peut attendre des résultats?
L'objectif va être en début d'année 2024.
4.11, autorisation d'une signature d'un bail entre la Cité de Dorval et le Musée d'histoire et du patrimoine de Dorval.
Je propose, Monsieur le maire, d'autoriser le maire et la greffière à signer pour et au nom de la Cité de Dorval un bail entre la Cité de Dorval comme locateur et le Musée d'histoire et du patrimoine de Dorval comme locataire pour la location d'espaces situés au 1850 chemin bord du lac Lakeshore à Dorval, le tout selon les termes et conditions apparaissant à l'entente jointe au dossier décisionnel 2023-08-015289 et d'autoriser le maire et la greffière à signer pour et au nom de la Cité de Dorval tout autre document requis pour donner effet à la présente résolution.
J'appuie.
Merci. Et ça, c'est c'est une formalité pour avoir des subventions du gouvernement provincial. 4.12, service professionnel en gestion contractuelle et rédaction des appels d'offres.
Oui, Monsieur le maire, ça serait pour retenir les services de l'entreprise Telcel Inc., seul soumissionnaire conforme pour les services de gestion contractuelle et les rédactions d'appels d'offres au montant global de 34 515,49 $, toutes taxes comprises, conformément à sa soumission ouverte le 9 août 2023.
J'appuie.
Merci.
Je m'oppose. Et j'aimerais dire la raison.
Allez-y, M. Brault.
Dans la documentation, c'est bien dit qu'il y avait 5 soumissionnaires, qu'on allait convier 5 soumissionnaires pour l'appel d'offres, pour savoir des prix. Et puis, finalement, il n'y en a pas 5, il y en a 3, mais c'est bien dit 5 à 2 reprises. Et puis, finalement, il y en avait juste seulement un soumissionnaire qui a soumissionné. Donc...
Monsieur Brault, je pense que vous voulez être opposé le point 4.10 et non 4.12.
Attendez.
Monsieur Brault, ce que je pense que vous voulez vous opposer, c'est le point 4.10, la rédaction du PIA. Ce que vous venez de lire sur le nombre de soumissionnaires, c'est le point 4.10 et non le point 4.12.
Donc, c'était pour le 4.10, désolé.
Madame la greffière, est-ce que c'est toujours possible de reculer dans le temps et de revoir ce point-là pour le vote puisqu'il a déjà été fait? Merci. On va noter au procès-verbal votre opposition pour le point 4.10, Monsieur Brault.
D'accord.
Un moment, s'il vous plaît. On va juste attendre Mme la greffière.
Oui, je l'avais appuyé.
C'est bon? Est-ce qu'on a un
Demandez
appuyeur?
aux élus de fermer leur micro.
Est-ce qu'on a un appuyeur pour 4.12?
Je l'appuie.
Oui, on l'avait déjà. Nous sommes rendus au point 4.13. C'était M. Lesage et M. Von Roritz pour le point 4.12. Et je répète, M. Brault s'oppose au point 4.10 et non au point 4.12.
Merci. 4.13, travaux de conception, construction d'un skatepark.
Propose to retain the services of Lanco Aménagement, Inc. as the sole and compliant bidder for the design and construction of a skate park for a total amount of $2,384,006.63, all taxes included, in accordance with the bid opened on August 8th, 2023.
Second that motion. This is the follow-up from the planning work contract we issued a number of months ago to ASM to help design this, which included a number of consultations with youth and users of the Dorval Skate Park. So it's a very exciting project. I should say that. A very exciting project.
It is. 4.14, autorisation d'une signature d'entente de partage de responsabilité.
Oui, Monsieur le maire, propose d'autoriser le maire et la greffière à signer pour et au nom de la Cité de Dorval une entente de partage des responsabilités relatives à la réalisation de l'ingénierie des ouvrages de génie civil des réseaux de distribution câblés dans le cadre du projet de revitalisation du chemin bord du lac Lakeshore entre les avenues Dorval et Saint-Charles, le tout selon les termes et conditions de l'entente, jointe au dossier décisionnel 2023-08-015296 et d'autoriser le directeur du service de génie à agir pour et au nom de la Cité de Dorval relativement à toute question découlant de la présente entente ou toute signature de documents administratifs qui pourraient être requises en application des termes et conditions de la présente entente et pour donner suite à la présente résolution.
J'appuie, Monsieur le maire.
Merci. Et je vais juste dire à tout le monde qui écoute à la maison que ce projet-là est le 4.15, le prochain point. C'est le début de ce processus de faire le projet du chemin, refaire le chemin bord du lac. Inquiétez-vous pas, tout le monde, on ne creuse pas l'année prochaine. On a beaucoup d'étapes à faire encore. Ça, c'est la première étape. Et je vais répéter, inquiétez-vous pas, on ne creuse pas l'année prochaine. Ça va venir dans une couple d'années, plus loin. Donc, 4.15, encadrement financier d'estimation budgétaire de Vidéotron.
Je propose, Monsieur le maire, d'autoriser le paiement d'un montant de 501 230,35 $.
Je pense que c'est le mauvais point. On est à 4.15. Engagement final. OK, excuse.
Pour les travaux de conception-construction volet électrique de son réseau dans le cadre du projet de la revitalisation du chemin bord du lac Lakeshore entre les avenues Saint-Charles et Dorval, afin que ce partenaire signe l'entente partage des responsabilités relatives aux travaux civils concernant le rôle des partenaires Cité de Dorval, Hydro-Québec, Vidéotron et Bell.
J'appuie.
Merci. 4.16, service professionnel pour la rédaction de plans et devis.
Je propose, Monsieur le maire, de retenir les services de l'entreprise Englobe pour préparer les plans et devis et les documents d'appel d'offres pour les travaux correctifs au parapet, au mur et au système de toiture de CASD pour un montant global de 67 145 40 sous, toute taxe comprise, conformément à sa soumission du 11 août 2023. Et encore, ça, c'est pour faire les plans. On ne se lance pas dans le projet tout de suite.
J'appuie.
Merci. 4.17, fourniture d'une surfaceuse à glace à gaz propane avec cabine.
Je propose d'émettre une commande d'achat à l'entreprise Robert Boileau, seul soumissionnaire conforme, pour la fourniture d'une surfaceuse à glace au gaz propane avec cabine au montant global de 198 743,61 sous, toute taxe comprise, conformément à sa soumission ouverte le 24 avril 2023.
J'appuie, Monsieur le maire.
Merci.
J'aimerais en discuter. Si je comprends bien, cette surfaceuse-là, elle est pour l'autre point qui est la construction d'une patinoire extérieure réfrigérée. Donc, avant, on devrait voter pour la conception de la construction d'une mise en service d'une patinoire réfrigérée avant d'acheter une surfaceuse à glace spécialement pour la patinoire. Ça, c'est un. Puis deux, on a toujours dit qu'il faut avoir l'ensemble global des coûts pour un projet, mais puis ça fait partie de l'ensemble global du projet, puis il faut déterminer les coûts d'exploitation du projet. Puis ça fait partie des coûts d'exploitation du projet. On devrait toujours fonctionner comme ça. Donc, je m'oppose à ça pour ces deux raisons-là.
Merci. 4.18, contrat de conception, construction et mise en service d'une patinoire extérieure réfrigérée et recouverte.
Je propose, Monsieur le maire, de retenir les services de l'entreprise QMD Inc., soumissionnaire ayant obtenu le plus haut pointage lors de l'évaluation des critères de sélection en comité de sélection pour un montant total de 9 90 370,47 sous, toutes taxes comprises, incluant l'option 1 pour la fourniture et l'installation de panneaux solaires, conformément à sa soumission ouverte le 20 juillet 2023.
Merci.
J'appuie, Monsieur le maire.
Merci.
Et je m'oppose.
Merci, M. Brault.
Et j'aimerais dire le pourquoi. Je suis pour les loisirs. Je vais sur la patinoire à Candiac avec mon frère qui a coûté 4 millions et qui a des subventions gouvernementales. Celle-là, on n'a pas de subvention. Au début, le PTI était de 4 millions. Après ça, ça a augmenté et je me sens redevable à la population. Quand on dépense 9 millions, il faudrait consulter la population pour un équipement de loisirs si c'est la volonté de la population. Et après ça, aller de l'avant. Donc, si c'est la volonté de la population, je suis bien d'accord, mais il faudrait consulter la population avant de dépenser de telles sommes, surtout qu'on n'a pas le budget de fonctionnement et combien ça va coûter pour faire fonctionner la patinoire. Donc là, il y a une surfaceuse à 200 000, etc. Donc, on n'a pas l'ensemble du projet. C'est tout.
Merci, M. Brault. 4.19, travaux de réhabilitation du parc Neptune.
So just a little bit of context, because obviously we have a plan directeur des parcs, a parks master plan process being undertaken. But it was understood that for this year and early 2024, that process wouldn't have been completed to budget for parks. So Neptune Park was chosen not to redo entirely, as was done with St. Charles, but rather specifically to replace the play equipment, which is quite dated, and some of it definitely nearing the end of its life. So in consulting residents, users of the park, daycares, happy to propose tonight that we retain the professional services of the firm Tessier Recreo Parc, the firm that obtained the highest score for the rehabilitation work at Neptune Park for a total amount of $762,209.78, all taxes included, consistent with their bid from July 20th, 2023.
I second that.
Merci, and I would just like to reiterate Mr. Von Rohr's point. Here we're just changing the equipment. The basketball courts are staying the same, the green spaces are staying the same, the tennis is staying the same. We're just replacing and modernizing the equipment. And I'll say that, you know, for people who I've spoken to, park consultation will take about a year. And then we have to develop projects, and to get those projects in the timeline, into our planning phases, that's 2 years. And I think it's quite reasonable that at some point we're going to have to make some decisions about some of our smaller parks where the equipment is getting very dated. In some cases need heavy repair. And so we will continue in the next 2 years to focus on some smaller parks and renovate the equipment only, and then continue to have a discussion about our major parks being parts like Windsor Park, like Surrey Park, like Westwood Park, and Cortland Park. I'm sorry, Chris, Cortland Park is included, and where we really have to develop brand new visions for those parks, as opposed to simply replacing equipment. So just wanted to point that out. 4.20, 4.20.
This point is postponed.
Oui, 2021, 20, oui. So, on est 2022, excuse, je le renommais à 2020, excuse. 2022, service professionnel, mandat de recoupement.
Attendu que suite à l'annonce du départ à la retraite de la directrice des affaires publiques et du greffe, nous devons procéder au comblement du poste. Propose, Monsieur le maire, de retenir les services de la firme Talinco Inc. pour le mandat de recrutement au montant de 24 500 $, toutes taxes comprises, conformément à l'offre de service présentée le 26 juin 2023, ci-jointe. Et je crois bien parler au nom de tout le monde. Nous remercions Mme Bilodeau de toutes ses années de service à la cité. Très bien fait et quel professionnalisme. Merci bien.
J'appuie, mais je vais répéter la deuxième partie quand elle nous quitte.
Et là aussi, qui va dans un bon bout. 5.1, dépôt de liste de dépenses autorisées. Y a-t-il des questions? 5.2, approbation de virements budgétaires.
Je propose, Monsieur le maire, d'autoriser les virements au poste budgétaire tels que décrits au dossier décisionnel 2023-012-583. Il s'agit d'une trentaine de transactions pour l'année courante.
J'appuie.
Merci. 5.3, dont instruction.
Mr. Mayor, I propose that we authorize financial support to the following organizations. The Dorval Old Timers for an amount of $200, and the dancers, les danseurs, for an amount of, which we can provide more information about if the name is distracting, for an amount of $200.
I second, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Faudra peut-être passer au vote. Moi, je m'oppose. J'aimerais avoir la parole pour l'indiquer pourquoi.
Allez-y.
J'ai été celui qui a demandé qu'il y ait une politique pour que ça soit clair et que ce soit le conseil de ville qui décide. Mais toutes les lettres sont envoyées à M. le maire. On remercie M. le maire. C'est l'argent des citoyens et les citoyens sont représentés par un conseil de ville et ça devrait être un non politique. Je regarde ici là, des lettres comme « Monsieur le maire, le réveil de la Chine organise un tournoi de golf. S'il vous était possible de joindre à nous, ce serait très apprécié. L'inscription, 95 $ par personne, etc. » Ce n'est pas... je trouve qu'il manque complètement de décorum puis un processus. Ici, Monsieur le maire, pour Donald de Boyer, 1000 $ et on vous invite et je vous prie de bien vouloir vous joindre à nous. Donc, moi, je trouve que ça manque d'une formule, d'un processus. On ne demande pas à monsieur le maire une subvention pour une souscription ou un don. On demande au conseil de ville, c'est le conseil de ville qui devrait décider en groupe, pas directement dans le cabinet du maire. Alors, c'est pour ça que je m'oppose. Tant qu'on n'aura pas une politique, c'est moi qui l'ai demandé, et tout ce que j'ai demandé dans la politique, bien, on ne l'a pas eu, que ce soit non politique, que ce ne soit pas de l'argent qu'on donne comme ça, puis qu'on respecte des critères, puis que ça soit décidé avec des personnes apolitiques. C'est tout.
Merci, M. Brault. Et je vais juste ajouter à ça que c'est le conseil qui prend une décision. L'information est fournie. Vous avez plein droit à refuser. Ça, ce n'est pas un problème. Ça, c'est votre choix. Mais la décision se fait en conseil à ce temps-ci. Donc, je pense que le processus est là. Et je pense que qu'est-ce qu'on fait, c'est très clair. On supporte nos communautés locales. Les danseurs sont un groupe de personnes âgées qui fait de la danse. Les citoyens sont de Dorval et la Chine. Ils louent nos établissements et on leur aide pour faire une soirée spéciale. À votre point, là, c'est pas le maire qui décide. Je vais être très clair, c'est le conseil qui prend un vote comme on fait aujourd'hui. Et vous êtes en titre à refuser à n'importe quel temps.
Est-ce que je peux avoir la parole?
Si vous voulez.
La loi le dit que toute décision est au conseil de ville. C'est bien sûr. C'est le processus. Ici, pour le tournoi de golf, je ne suis pas contre. Je suis pour les œuvres de charité. Je suis pour aider notre communauté. Je suis le premier qui fait du bénévolat partout. Mais que le processus soit « Hi Manon, here's the invitation for the golf charity. Attach the sponsor sheet. Thanks. » Ce n'est pas un processus normal pour demander des dons à une municipalité. Et nous, en tant que conseil de ville, on représente des citoyens, puis bien administrer ça, il faudrait qu'il y ait un formulaire qui soit adressé à la ville ou au conseil de ville, mais je pense que les organismes ne le savent pas. Fait que là, ils disent, bien, voulez-vous, monsieur le maire, voulez-vous venir à notre tournoi de golf? C'est 94 $ par personne, puis vous avez droit à un souper, etc. On aimerait ça de votre présence. Moi, je trouve pas que c'est un processus legit pour nous, en tant que conseil de ville. On a des obligations, puis il faudrait que ça soit plus formel. C'est ça que j'ai demandé depuis le début dans la politique de dons, puis on l'a pas eu. On a eu d'autres choses, mais jamais on a enlevé le politique dans la politique de dons. Fait que ça devient l'organisme qui veut avoir ça. Bien, il est mieux de demander ça gentiment au maire s'il va avoir sa subvention.
Merci, M.
Ça marche pas de même.
Je pense qu'on comprend. J'espère que... Ouais, je dis à tout le monde que moi, je vais être au golf, mais pas pour jouer au golf. Cette journée-là, c'est la journée de barbecue pour nos employés. J'espère que vous allez être là, M. Brault.
Non, c'est pas une barbecue, c'est marqué. Là, avec ça, tu as droit à une personne qui joue au golf. Après ça, tu as droit à 4 personnes qui jouent au golf pour le réveil de Dorval. On a besoin de 4 tickets à 380 $. Merci, comme ça. Moi, je m'excuse, là, mais on représente l'argent des citoyens. Puis présentement, il y a beaucoup de nos citoyens qui en souffrent. On est tous pour donner des bonnes causes. Mais il faut que ça soit fait en bonne et due forme, puis on joue avec l'argent du peuple. Donc, on est redevable au peuple. Est-ce qu'on donne l'argent pour la bonne chose? Oui, mais comment on le donne, c'est ça qu'il faudrait réglementer. C'est tout.
Okay.
Alors, ne venez pas m'accuser que je suis contre les œuvres de charité.
Je n'ai jamais dit ça, M. Brault.
Oui, vous avez déjà dit ça,
Non,
puis je vous ai demandé de vous excuser puis de retirer vos paroles.
M. Brault, je ne sais pas où
Donc,
vous êtes
là,
dans
je
vos
vous
questions,
dis,
mais j'ai jamais
le
dit ça aujourd'hui.
processus ne devrait pas être Monsieur le maire, venez-vous à mon tournoi de golf, j'aimerais ça que vous soyez là. La maison Donalda Boyer, on vous invite, vous. Je ne suis jamais invité à la maison de Donalda Boyer, qui est dans mon district. Je ne sais même pas, Bob, tu travailles là, je ne sais même pas quand est-ce qu'il y a une occasion. Je devrais peut-être être invité à cette maison-là, mais je ne le sais pas. C'est très, très politique. Donc, c'est comme ça que ça marche. Moi, je suis contre. Donc, ça ne devrait pas être politique. de donner des dons à nos organismes qu'on aimerait encourager.
Merci, M. Beau. 5.6, disposition de biens de meubles et équipements. 5.4, excuse. 5.4, autorisation de dépenses et de réclamation.
Je propose, M. le maire, d'autoriser le paiement des réclamations décrites au rapport de la greffière pour la période du 5 juillet au 14 août 2023 et totalisant un montant de 311,11 non taxable.
J'appuie, Monsieur le maire.
5.5, demande de soutien financier au Fonds québécois d'initiative sociale, la FQIS, dans le cadre des Alliances pour la solidarité.
Monsieur le maire, je propose qu'on autorise la division de l'assistance communautaire à soumettre une demande de prolongation de soutien financier en vertu de l'entente administrative sur la gestion du Fonds québécois d'initiative sociale dans le cadre des Alliances pour la solidarité, Ville MTESS 2023-2024, administrée par la Ville de Montréal, afin que le camp de jour d'Orval, l'équipe entreprise et Ajoie reçoivent des prolongations de subventions pour financer leurs projets.
J'appuie, Monsieur le maire.
Merci. 5.6, disposition de biens meubles, équipements, véhicules et accessoires.
Je propose d'autoriser la demande de dons de tatamis qui ne sont plus utilisés à l'organisme Judo Québec, d'autoriser la demande de dons d'équipements de protection pour le taekwondo, incluant des casques, des plastrons et 2 sacs de transport au Centre des loisirs de la Chine, d'autoriser également la disposition des biens meubles énumérés dans le présent dossier décisionnel 2023-008-015-268 par le biais de services d'appel d'offres du Centre d'acquisition gouvernementale, le tout conformément à la politique de disposition de biens de la Cité, ainsi que d'autoriser la disposition des articles qui ne répondent plus aux besoins de différents services qui sont non conformes aux normes de sécurité, obsolètes, brisés et invendus de façon éco-responsable et conformément à l'énoncé de la politique de disposition des biens de la Cité de Dorval. Et finalement, d'autoriser la chef de section ressources matérielles à prendre les mesures requises auprès du Centre d'acquisition gouvernementale et à signer tout document requis pour donner effet à cette présente résolution.
J'appuie.
Je m'oppose car j'ai demandé aux pléniers de demander à nos institutions scolaires, nos écoles primaires, s'ils ont besoin de matelas. Ils peuvent s'en servir pour faire. Il y a une quarantaine de matelas. Des matelas comme ça vaut 150 $ chaque, pour qu'on puisse les donner à nos écoles primaires. Et nos écoles primaires ont besoin de matériel. C'est très difficile d'avoir du matériel d'éducation physique. Et là, on a une opportunité de faire un don facile à nos organismes. Je ne comprends pas pourquoi on ne fait pas un effort pour donner ça aux enfants de Dorval. Donc, je suis contre et ça me fâche énormément qu'on ne fasse pas l'effort de donner ça à nos enfants de Dorval. Alors, on parle des matelas de tatami. C'est des matelas ça peut être utilisé pour des matelas de toutes sortes. On a des gymnases, des vieux gymnases et qui sont des planchers de ciment. Donc, c'est très, très bien pour la sécurité de nos enfants lors des cours d'éducation physique ou lors d'activités parascolaires. Donc, je trouve qu'on n'a pas fait un effort, puis c'était la moindre des choses de redonner à notre communauté, aux enfants de Dorval.
Merci,
Donc,
M. Beau.
je m'oppose à ça, puis je ne comprends pas pourquoi je suis seul à m'opposer.
Monsieur le maire, si je peux avoir la parole.
Oui.
Je suis d'accord avec un principe qui a été mentionné, c'est de vérifier avec nos groupes communautaires. De ce que je comprends, il y a quand même des efforts qui ont été faits, mais peut-être ce n'était pas autant qu'on aurait voulu. Donc, je ne vais pas faire d'autres propositions, mais je demanderai qu'on fait la diligence toujours de vérifier si nos groupes ont d'usage avant qu'on fait des dons lors de la ville ou des ventes lors de la ville.
Merci. M. Rouleau.
Oui, merci, Monsieur le maire. Comme j'ai mentionné au dernier plénier, M. Brault a raison. L'effort qui a été fait, je n'ai pas l'information aujourd'hui sur quel groupe a été contactés. Il y a plusieurs groupes qui ont été contactés, mais je ne sais pas, je ne suis pas capable de vous répondre aujourd'hui si les écoles ont été contactées. On vous a dit que la prochaine fois, comme M. Von Roris l'a mentionné, j'ai avisé les gens qu'on tente de rejoindre les gens sur notre site. On comprend aussi que ces équipements-là ne sont pas neufs et sont abîmés, mais c'est sûr que l'effort va être fait pour les prochaines fois. Merci.
Merci.
J'ai vérifié, les écoles n'ont pas été contactées. Donc, on aurait pu prendre une décision, puis les garder, puis les donner et faire un geste facile ce soir, mais si il n'y a pas de volonté, il n'y a pas de volonté. Mais moi, je vous dis, en tant que prof d'éducation physique qui a travaillé au primaire, là, des budgets, c'est très difficile d'en avoir. Donc, ça, c'est un geste facile pour redonner à notre communauté. Je ne comprends pas pourquoi on n'est pas capable de faire ça.
Merci, M. Beau. Vous avez fait un point clair. 5.7, autorisation d'une signature de demande d'aide financière dans le cadre du virage vert de la cité de Dorval.
Je propose, M. le maire, d'autoriser le directeur des services administratifs et trésorier de la cité de Dorval à signer pour et au nom de la cité tout formulaire de demande d'aide financière dans le cadre des programmes offerts aux municipalités par les ministères et organismes gouvernementaux pour l'achat de véhicules électriques ou autres biens et accessoires en lien avec le virage vert de la cité de Dorval, et d'autoriser le directeur des services administratifs et trésorier de la cité de Dorval à signer toute entente ou document requis dans le cadre des dites demandes d'aide financière.
J'appuie.
Merci. 4.8, création d'un comité sur les oiseaux.
So, Mr. Mayor, I mean, the preamble, we've spoken about this. We advertised that the city would like to obtain Nature Canada's bird-friendly city certification. But I would like to highlight the goal is not to get the certification for the sake of getting certification, but rather to have a framework for taking better actions to make Dorval a better place for birds as one facet of how we can support biodiversity in our community. Since we spoke about it earlier, truth and reconciliation and partnerships with Indigenous peoples, I'd also like to point out that part of the certification process does require a city to at least start a dialogue with Indigenous populations. So again, I don't think we want to do that for the sake of getting the certification, but to your earlier point, that ties in with this as well. So with that, I'd like to propose that we create a bird committee to contribute to the well-being and improvement of conditions for the lives of birds, and to facilitate obtaining and maintaining the certification bird-friendly city, that this committee be formed of representatives from council, employees from leisure and culture, representatives from partners, as well as residents, and that the municipal council expresses by this current resolution its willingness to take the necessary steps so that Dorval can become a bird-friendly city.
I would like to second and congratulate Chris and his team, the administration, all the volunteers that were involved. This is a great initiative that we all support. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you. 6.1, dépôt du procès verbal du comité consultatif d'urbanisme. Est-ce qu'il y a des questions? 6.2, dépôt d'un rapport comparatif de liste de permis. Est-ce qu'on a des questions? Merci. 6.3, dépôt du procès verbal du comité d'études de démolition d'immeubles. Est-ce qu'il y a des questions? Merci. 6.4, approbation d'une demande de dérogation mineure, lot 6386113 sur la rue Saint-Regis.
Oui, Monsieur le maire, ce serait pour accorder une demande de dérogation mineure au règlement de zonage numéro RCM 60A 2015 sur les lots 6386113 afin de réduire le nombre de cases de stationnement de 360 cases à 35 cases pour permettre la construction d'un bâtiment d'entreposage libre-service conformément aux documents déposés au soutien de la demande et ce conditionnellement ajouter de 6 cases additionnelles en réserve aménagées sous une forme d'espace vert, soumettre la phase 2 pour approbation par le conseil municipal une fois la vocation précisée.
J'appuie et j'apprécie la clarification pour le public, M. Lesage, que c'est grâce au usage du bâtiment que pour un centre de storage, peut-être le ratio de 360 cases pour des gens qui vont déposer des choses et partir quelques heures plus tard, c'était excessif.
8.1, nomination d'un employé col bleu au poste permanent de journalier avec permis.
Je propose, Monsieur le maire, d'autoriser la nomination permanente de M. Christopher Clément au poste de journalier avec permis au service des travaux publics, et ce à compter du 29 août 2023.
J'appuie, Monsieur le maire.
Merci. 8.2, confirmation d'une permanence au poste de coordinateur de géomatique pour le service de génie.
Je propose, Monsieur le maire, de confirmer à compter du 16 juillet 2023 la nomination permanente de M. Imad Lecouche au poste de coordonnateur en géomatique au service du génie.
J'appuie.
Merci. 8.3, confirmation de permanence au poste électricien par le service des travaux publics.
Je propose, Monsieur le maire, de confirmer à compter du 13 août 2023 la nomination permanente de M. Étienne Courcy au poste d'électricien pour le service des travaux publics.
J'appuie.
Merci. 8.4, fin de... L'appuyeur, Chris Van Woods. 8.4, fin de période d'essai et cessation d'emploi.
Monsieur le maire, je propose qu'on autorise et entérine la fin de la période d'essai et de la cessation d'emploi du salarié numéro 956 en date du 7 août 2023 selon la recommandation signée par le directeur général.
J'appuie, Monsieur le maire.
Merci. 8.5, fin de période d'essai et cessation d'emploi.
Je propose d'autoriser et d'entériner la fin de la période d'essai et la cessation d'emploi du salarié numéro 29449 en date du 16 août 2023, selon la recommandation signée par le directeur général le 10 août 2023.
J'appuie, Monsieur le maire.
8.6, embauche d'une directrice des communications et des relations avec les citoyens.
Je propose, Monsieur le maire, d'autoriser l'embauche en vue de sa permanence. Ah, je n'ai pas le nom. As-tu le nom?
Annick Charret.
d'Annick Charret au poste de directrice des communications et des relations avec les citoyens au plus tôt le 11 septembre 2023, sujet à une période de probation de 6 mois.
Et je l'appuie. Bienvenue.
Merci.
J'ai juste une question. Monsieur le maire, est-ce que je peux avoir la parole?
Oui.
J'ai demandé, est-ce qu'on a créé un poste dans l'organigramme? On m'a répondu oui au cours d'un ancien conseil de ville. J'ai fait la recherche, je ne l'ai pas trouvé. Donc, est-ce qu'on a une création de poste dans l'organigramme pour cette personne?
De mémoire, comme je vous ai mentionné tantôt, ça a été fait. Je vais demander demain à notre chef de division ressources humaines de valider ça.
Et mon deuxième point est que j'ai appris la création de ce poste dans les médias et on n'en avait jamais discuté au départ. Par la suite, on en a discuté, je n'étais pas contre, mais je trouve que c'est toujours le processus qui fait défaut. Donc, ça devrait commencer par une discussion au conseil et non l'apprendre dans les médias, comme j'ai appris dans les médias qu'on va avoir une piste cyclable sur Bouchard. Il y a des choses que l'on devrait améliorer en tant que conseil de ville. C'est pour ça que je m'oppose.
Oui,
il n'y a pas de...
Merci, M. Brault.
Parce qu'il manque d'informations. Est-ce qu'on a créé un poste dans l'organigramme? Je ne sais pas. En tout cas, les autres, je ne sais pas si vous le savez. Puis deux, le processus, ça devrait toujours être, au départ, le conseil de ville qui prend la décision de créer ce poste avant de l'afficher.
Monsieur Brault, je sais que ça a été discuté en caucus, mais vous avez dit que vous avez su ça dans les médias. Quels médias est-ce que vous avez vu ce point-là?
Là, vous me prenez de court. Je pense que c'était sur Facebook où quelqu'un avait vu une offre d'emploi pour un directeur des communications. Alors, c'est comme ça que je l'ai su, moi.
Ce dossier-là a été discuté en caucus, mais vous étiez absent, M. Brault.
Oui, je sais que ce dossier, je m'adresse à vous, Monsieur le Directeur général. Ce dossier-là a été discuté en caucus, mais je me souviens très bien que Monsieur Van Roretz et moi, on n'en avait pas parlé de la création. Par la suite, on en a discuté, mais pas au départ.
Je répète, la journée que ça a été discuté au caucus, vous étiez absent.
Ben, moi, je vous répète que M. Chris Van Roretz et moi, on dit qu'on n'était pas d'accord car on n'a pas eu l'information au départ. Ça a été fait, ça a été créé sans qu'on le sache. Par la suite, on en a discuté, mais pas au départ.
Je vais juste...
Puis,
Monsieur
je vais vous citer, vous avez bien dit, ben, si le conseil n'est pas d'accord, je peux le retirer.
Moi, je vais juste ressouligner, M. Gros, ça a été discuté. Vous avez raison, vous et M. Van Roritz étaient absents lors de ce caucus-là.
Puis est-ce que vous pouvez confirmer que vous nous avez dit, si vous n'êtes pas d'accord, je vais le retirer? Je ne le savais pas.
Je ne me souviens pas d'avoir dit ça, mais c'est possible.
Moi, je me souviens très bien.
Prochain point, 8.7, autorisation de congédiement d'un employé.
Je propose d'autoriser d'entériner la suspension sans traitement et le congédiement de l'employé numéro 29157, le tout selon la recommandation signée par le directeur général en date du 25 août 2023.
J'appuie, Monsieur le maire.
Merci.
Je m'oppose. Je trouve qu'il nous manque des informations pour un congédiement d'un employé. Alors, j'aurais voulu avoir plus d'informations. Ça a été appris. Je voudrais avoir plus d'informations pour savoir si on a bien fait toutes les choses pour que il y a eu d'autres situations dans d'autres domaines de ma vie où on est allé un petit peu trop vite. Alors, je ne dis pas que je suis contre ou je suis pour, mais il me manque de l'information.
Merci, M. Brault. Section 9, nouvelle affaire. Est-ce qu'on a des points à ajouter?
Monsieur le maire, j'ai juste une question. Si jamais ça arrive qu'on n'a pas approuvé une modification à l'organigramme dans le passé, est-ce que c'est mieux de faire une résolution comme si jamais ça n'a pas été fait encore, qu'on approuve une modification à l'organigramme, ou c'est quoi la meilleure démarche?
On va commencer par vérifier ce qui a été fait. Ce dossier-là date depuis le mois de mai, si je me souviens bien, ou juin. Donc, je vais commencer par vérifier ça. Et si ça n'a pas été fait, on va revenir au conseil avec un nouvel organigramme. Je pense que la volonté du conseil était là, ou du moins de la majorité du conseil, puisqu'il y a eu une seule opposition. Donc, de ce que je comprends des discussions qui ont eu lieu au conseil, la majorité du conseil est en accord. Donc, on rectifiera le tir pour l'organigramme.
Merci.
Mon opposition était là pour le processus car j'ai fait des recherches en 2023 et j'en ai trouvé aucune, sauf pour la nomination d'un directeur du génie où on a aussi fait l'adoption d'un changement à l'organigramme. C'est pour ça que je cherchais ça. Alors, moi, c'est toujours dans la procédure que je m'oppose.
Merci, M. Brault. Point 9, affaires nouvelles. Ici, on n'a pas d'autres ajouts. Donc, on va aller au 10.1, lever la séance.
Je propose, M. le maire, que la séance soit levée.
J'appuie.
Merci. Merci. Merci à tout le monde à la maison et on va vous revoir bientôt. Thank you everyone at home for staying tuned. Have a great long holiday weekend and we'll see you in September. Thank you.